John Ford's keys to the game. And our starting lineups today, by the way, presented by Hydro Resources. Take a timeout. We've got John Ford's keys on the other side. We've got the opening kick. Week 2, Garden City and Fort Scott next on 99.9 The Rock. Back on the American Implement pregame show, alongside John Ford, CD DeSalvo, Mike Philosoph. Let's quickly check in with CD. You couldn't have asked it. John Ford was saying this earlier. It's the Chamber of Commerce Day here today.
Yeah, guys. Oh, there it is.
There we go.
Yeah, beautiful weather out here. Last week you could have fooled me that it was still fall, but today it's pretty apparent that it is spring. We're about 75 degrees right now, going to head towards 80 degrees. And it's one of the handful of days a year in southwest Kansas where the wind is under 10 miles per hour. But you say that, and the inflatable tunnel just blew away a couple minutes ago. So it does gust occasionally, but this is probably one of the few days a year you're not going to have a whole lot of wind. So that was interesting in the pregame when you talked to Devin Larson, and you mentioned Tom Minnick's view on the wind. It's not going to be as bad today as it probably will be for the rest of the season, so we'll see if Garden City opens it up a little bit today.
Be interesting, before we get to the opening kick, this year they're not doing the coin toss because of all the COVID protocols. Let's get to John Ford's keys.
Well, I think the first key is, show steady improvement from week 1 to week 2. Like Coach Minnick said, usually you see a pretty big jump between week 1 and week 2. It'll be interesting to see that today. My second key of the game is stay away from injuries, especially that offensive line. I mean, the depth's not there yet, and it's sort of a work in progress, but until it gets there, hey, we can't afford to have any injuries. And third of all, hey, do what you do, man.
Cameron LeBourne is back deep for Garden City, so they won the toss. And they get the football first. About to get week 2 underway as Ish Roy has it on the tee for Fort Scott. They're wearing the lovely maroon pants, white shirts with the gray numerals that you need 25 vision to see the numerals, and then the white helmets. Garden City in the black pants, the gold tops, and the white numerals. Son is also back deep for Garden City. It's an end-over-end kick, and it spins at the 6-yard line. This is LeBourne, and he goes out to the left, 40, across the numbers, 50, down the left sideline, 40, and all the way to the Fort Scott 30-yard line. And shoved out of bounds by Jonathan Cradle, playing on special teams. Excellent starting field position to begin this game.
You saw the blocking. I'm not going to call it a wedge because it wasn't a wedge, but you just saw hat on hat as he went through all of it. Very nice return.
That's a 36-yard return to start things off. So the Blockbusters moving left to right, just underway here in quarter number 1.
If that field was a little bit wider, he would have gone.
They spotted inside the 35 of Fort Scott. So 1st and 10.
Down!
Devin Larson at the... It's the starting quarterback with 2 receivers right, 1 left. Fakes the handoff, comes back to the near side right, 30 to the near side hash mark, 20. Out of bounds, angling right near the 16-yard line for Devin Larson, and that's a gain of 18 on the first play of the game.
Mike, that's just from knowing that, hey, Fort Scott's going to probably be keying in on that inside handoff, and we decided to option that play, and Devin had a wide open field in front of him.
They said he stepped out of bounds at the 18-yard line. So it's 1st and 10 inside the red zone on the right hash. Opening drive. Garden City sends 2 receivers left and 2 to the near side right. Larson on the shotgun. Motions LeBourne from right to left. They give it to LeBourne on a little flip to the left. Comes back right, and he's spun down between the hash marks back at the 19-yard line. That was Jerome Denson, the defensive end that twists him down after a yard loss. It's 2nd and 11.
You know, something that happened last week, and it reappeared this week on that play, is a snap back to Larson. It's not crisp, and consequently it kind of throws the timing off on the play, because I think the blocking was there, but because he had to jump to get the ball and hand it off, I think it lacked that timing for him to hit the hole.
Carter Habbick is the starting center. Started in Arizona Western under Tom Minnick. 2nd down and 11. Garden City at the Fort Scott 19-yard line. 2 receivers left. Chest high snap. And it's a handoff to Jordan Fort, sweeping right along the numbers. And is planted near the 16-yard line of Fort Scott. Taken down from behind by Austin Hollins, the outside linebacker, along with Easton Dent. And that's a gain of about 3. It's now 3rd down and 6.
When they go wide like that, what they like to do with their blockers is muck it up a little bit, and then Jordan kind of squirts through. That time, he almost got through.
You were right, mid.
So now it's a 3rd down and 9 for Garden City. Last week on 3rd down, they were 5 of 11. They have it at the Fort Scott 16-yard line. 2 receivers left, 1 right. Check that. 2 receivers come to the near side right. Larson in the shotgun. Ford on his left hip. Takes the chest high snap, drops back to throw. 4-man rush, whips one to the near side, and it's incomplete at the goal line. And trying to hit on a comeback route that time. That was Austin Simmons, who curled near the 2, and the pass a little high, so now it's 4th down and 10.
Mike, I'm a little surprised he didn't just pull the ball in and run, because he had 10 yards wide open in front of him.
16-yard line.
And they will attempt a field goal here with Joe Carroll. This will be from about 35 yards out with 12.5 to go in the opening quarter. No score. So the Blockbusters' opening drive stalls at the Fort Scott 16. Snap is back. The placement is good. The end over end kick towards the uprights, and it's no good. So Carroll pushes it. Go ahead, CD.
It was wide right. He missed that one.
Last week they had some special teams problems. You alluded to it.
Yeah, I think you know, it's going to be a work in progress all year, because I know Coach Minnick is working with Coach Bryan, the soccer coach, on getting a guy to go both ways, both on soccer and in football. And of course, it's a little bit different with football, because you know, you got a bunch of big guys coming after you, and so he's eventually going to get it, I think, because that wasn't a bad kick. It was just a little bit cattywampus.
1st and 10, Jaya Wright in the shotgun for Fort Scott, moving right to left, no score. 12.5 to go in the opening quarter. Right back to throw, spins to his left, throws on the run, and the pass is incomplete to the near side of the field at the 25-yard line, as Clayton Schmitz, the redshirt freshman from Gilbert, Arizona, tried to make a sliding catch, and it's 2nd down and 10.
Well, I'll tell you what, our pass rush is unbelievable.
Yeah, one thing that Tom Minnick has talked about with his, he calls it the SEC defensive line, was getting pressure on the quarterback. 4 wide, 2x2 for Fort Scott on 2nd and 10 for their own 20-yard line. And the snap goes over the head of Wright. It's back in the end zone. He picks it up. He fumbles it, runs to his left, does a great job just to recover, and then nearly is picked off up the near sideline at the 25-yard line. So a great job avoiding disaster, and then he nearly throws a pick, and it was Zay Robertson that almost had himself a pick 6. It's 3rd and 10.
There are all sorts of things going on in that play.
Oh, my
Guys,
goodness.
this was a consistent problem for Fort Scott last week against Highland with the snap.
3rd and 10, Fort Scott from their own 19. Right back to throw, zips a slant to the left, and it's incomplete. And that sails over the head of the intended target, Reese Thomas, the H-back. So 3 quick plays, 3 and out, and now it's 4th and 10
there was
Fort
flag
Scott.
on play. We were offsides.
It'll bring a 4th down and 10.
Didn't even see the flag. Are you sure?
Yep, far the headlinesman threw it.
You sure he didn't drop it? Now they're
That guy looks like he got pretty good hands, man. So
haven't had an official call from the referee, but you're right. So it's now 3rd and 5. 3rd and 5, Fort Scott at their own 25-yard line. Last week, 2 of 15 on 3rd down. Schmitz comes to the near side left. 2 receivers left, 2 right. Helmet high snap to right. Throws one left, and it's dropped. by Thomas, who was absolutely mauled as soon as he got the ball by Christian Furman, the Mike linebacker, and it's 4th down and 5.
That was a proverbial chuck and duck, only this was by the receiver. Because he flat out got slobber knocked on that one. Yeah, either one.
So Fort Scott goes 3 downs and out, 12:04 to go here in quarter number 1, no score. The Brockbusters about to get the football back for the second time as they drop San back deep. This series is tied 30 games apiece. The Brockbusters have dominated in recent years as Ishroy gets this kick away, bounces, taken at the 32-yard line by San to the near side number is 40, sheds a tackle 46, goes back left to the hash mark, now to the middle of the field, breaks another tackle and down at the Fort Scott 48, and he was hit right around the waist by Miles Jackson at the Fort Scott 42. So that is a return of 26 after a 43-yard punt.
That was some pretty good elusiveness there.
11:48 to go here in the first quarter. No score. The Brockbusters get the football back. The offense marched to the Fort Scott 18-yard line their last possession and then missed a 35-yard field goal courtesy of Carroll. And as John Ford has pointed out on several occasions, that is a definite work in progress. So the ball on the right hash, Garden City moving from left to right. It's an offense last week that put up 434 total yards.
I wonder what the heck's going on.
Yeah,
here.
that's a great question. You got Jalen Williams to the near side right. Wide left goes Austin Simmons.
Looks like it might be, I don't know what they're doing there. I didn't see a flag, did you?
I did not.
No flag.
It's only week 2 and already having communication errors between the officials.
It might be a timing problem or timing issue.
I don't know if they, the play clock is reset. The ball is sitting at the 42. If you're just joining us again, Garden City took the opening kickoff, had a 40-yard return by LeBourne. That put them at the 34-yard line, and then Devin Larson ran for 16, but they couldn't get a first down after that, and they brought out Carroll for a field goal, and he missed it from 35 yards out. And then on Fort Scott's opening possession, they went 3 and out, even with an offsides penalty, and they nearly...
There's a flag.
And there's the flag. Having problems with the referee's mic.
Well, it's against Fort Scott.
Looks like-
Unsportsmanlike conduct.
Yep.
So that's going to move it inside the 30.
I wonder what happened. I wonder if there was something said that shouldn't have been said, or...
Nobody was ejected, so that puts the ball at the 28. So 1st and 10 now, Garden City on the right hash at the Fort Scott 27-yard line. And again, we have a stoppage in play. I was going back to that play, Fort Scott in his own end zone. Jaya Wright, who spun to his left and got away with a disaster because, A, snap went over his head. He nearly threw a pick after that. 1st and 10, Garden City. Larson to the shotgun, 2 receivers left, 1 right. Chest high snap. It's a handoff. This is Xavier Peters sweeping right. And the one-time defensive end who signed at Florida State, then transferred to Kentucky, and now here at Garden City is ridden down by Austin Hollins with another flag down. Right now it's a gain of about 7. So we'll check the laundry. Yeah, referee's mic definitely not working. So I don't know if that was a procedure penalty against Garden City.
A hold.
I don't know how many plays we've run, but we've already had 3 flags.
It's been an interesting start to this one.
Yeah.
So now it's 1st and 15, Garden City at the Fort Scott 33. 11:39. We've played, 3 minutes and 21 seconds, which has seemed like 2 quarters already. Larson in the shotgun, 2 receivers right, 2 left. Wide right is Simmons. Larson in the shotgun. Extends the arms. Forward on his left hip, takes a helmet-high snap. 3-step drop, well protected. Dumps it over the middle, and it's dropped by
there
Ford
should be a flag right there.
at the left hash mark at the 33. He did take an extra shot that time from Miles Jackson, the transfer from Lenoir-Rhyne, a Division II college. The redshirt freshman from Jefferson County, Georgia. No call on that. It's 2nd and 15. don't know if they just said that was kind of a bang-bang play, but
Didn't look bang-bang to me.
A little late to me.
Yeah.
I'm being the politician. 2nd and 15, Garden City on the right hash, moving left to right at the Fort Scott 37. Two receivers left, two right. Larson again in the shotgun, takes the snap, hands for Ford right up the middle. Breaking tackles inside the 25, down near the 25, I should say. And he's taken down around the waist after a gain of about 7. Darius Allen in on that tackle, and that brings up a 3rd and 8.
Mike, they had a ton of success with that play last week. I would say that Ford got most of his yardage on that play.
Yeah, 2 backs last week, and then you can throw in Jones who had a touchdown run. So technically 3. The running game was, I mean, you figured that's what they were going to do against Arkansas Baptist. They were fantastic. So a 3rd down and about 8 right here. Garden City at the Fort Scott 26-yard line. Larson in the shotgun, trips to the left, single wide out right. He drops back, 4-man rush, and he floats a pass to the near pylon. Jump ball, and Williams has it. Touchdown, Garden City. On a perfectly thrown ball, it's Jalen Williams who comes and plucks it out of the sky. A 26-yard touchdown pass, and the blockbuster strike first. That's the 3rd TD strike of the season thus far for Larson.
A beautiful pass on the outside shoulder. And, I mean, he went up and high-pointed the ball, and, heck, that was a very nice-looking touchdown. I hear that defensive back just been mossed.
Yes, he was. That was basically go get it. And when you're 6'7" like Williams, a one-time Indiana pledge, it's not a hard play to make. Snap back, placement good. The kick on the way, a line drive, and that's good on the extra point by Carroll. So the blockbuster strike. 3 plays, 33 yards. 10:18 to go in the first. It's 7-0 Garden City on 99.9 The Rock.
Check. 1, 2. Thank you.
Kickoff is fumbled on the return, recovered by the Blockbusters.
Blockbusters with an onside kick, more of a squib kick, and they recover it at the Fort Scott 20. They did this last week, and now they're set up in the red zone once again.
It's Huggins.
Jonathan Huggins, the transfer from the University of Florida, is the one that recovers it.
Correction, Jonathan Huggins.
And that puts the ball at the 21, so just outside the red zone is where Garden City starts their next offensive possession, 7-0.
I'll tell you what, our special teams, it's been an adventure every time.
That is, yes, what good or bad.
Yeah. Seems like more good than bad lately.
1st and 10, Garden City at the Fort Scott 21. It's a half diamond this time for Larson. Turns, hands for Ford. Jitterbugs right, cuts back to the left, and he's hit at the 15-yard line that time. A waist-high tackle made by Miles Jackson again. He's been busy. That's a gain of about 6 yards. It's 2nd down and 4. So the Blockbusters with a 7-0 lead and driving again, thanks to the, I mean, you could call it an onside kick. It was more of a squib, and it just bounced about 35 yards.
I don't know. Fort Scott had a stick trying to beat it.
Simmons wide left, LeBourne in a slot left, Jalen Williams a touchdown reception right. 2nd down and 4 from the Fort Scott 16. This is Xavier Peters bulldozing his way up the middle, running along the right hash mark to the 7-yard line.
Move.
And they are making this look way too easy in that tackle for Fort Scott by Dent, who's the backup defensive end, and that's a gain of 9 and a 1st down.
Am I trying to tackle him? I bet it is tough. Once he gets those legs going, 6'4", 255, that is.
You know, Devin Larson compared him to Derrick Henry. How about Brandon Jacobs?
Oh, yeah.
First and goal, right hash from the 6. Larson calling it out. LeBourne goes left. Simmons to the near side right. And some movement on the right side of the line, and that is Basa Balaganaye with a false start.
Now, this was something they were good at last week. They held their water. It allowed Devin Larson to use voice inflection. If he wanted to
False
check off, he
start.
could do that.
Offense, number 66, 5-yard penalty. Replay, first down.
John, I'm glad you brought that up because you can hear his cadence as he's calling
Yes.
it at the line of scrimmage, and you can see him changing, or you can hear him changing
Yeah.
his inflection. But
And I think this is an art, and I think he's really good at it. I think he's a natural at it.
first and goal from the 11. 2 receivers left with a tight end right. Larson in a half diamond, hands it for Ford, squirts up the middle, spins off one man, and then is decked near the 7-yard line. And that tackle made waist high by Tryshawn Freeman, the defensive back. The transfer from Southeast Louisiana, was a first-team All-Stater coming out of Prattville, Alabama. They put it at the 7-yard line, so that is a gain of 4, and it's second down and goal.
Referring back to the snap, Michael, it's going to be interesting to see if they go on the second hut or the third hut. You know, they've gone on the first hut a lot so far, but
And they fooled their own lineman. Second and goal from the 7. Garden City up 7-0 with 8:14 to go here in the first. Ball on the right hash, moving left to right. Larson in the shotgun, 2 receivers left with 2 tight ends. Check that 1 tight end. Back on either side of Larson, takes the snap. Quick drop, looks left, throws a fade, back left pylon, it's there, but the ball drifts the receiver out of bounds. That was LeBourne who makes the catch, but he's about 3 yards out of bounds, and the one in coverage was Darius Allen. And now it's third and goal, Garden City from the Fort Scott 7, leading 7-0 with less than 8 to go in the first quarter. One thing about Devin Larson that Tom Minnick said, which I thought was interesting because he's had a lot of really good quarterbacks, whether he was at Arizona Western, whether he was at DuPage, Joliet Junior College. This is a guy that said this was the best quarterback he has seen through camp in his coaching career, at least one of them.
yeah.
Third and goal from the 7 here from Garden City. 2 receivers left, 1 right. Williams to the near side right. Shotgun snap to Larson. Quick drop. Steps up. Fires a dart to the near side. Incomplete. Right at the pylon. Looking for Williams, who had to adjust and come back for the ball, and it goes wide of the target. And now it's 4th and goal, Garden City again. As they stall in the red zone, it's 4th and goal from the 7.
Honestly, that's a ball he should have had. But, hey, I mean, he's already made one terrific catch.
And the offense stays on the field. Why not? Fort Scott has only run 3 offensive plays in the first half of this quarter. 4th and goal from the 7 for Garden City. Larson changing the play at the line. 3 receivers left, 1 right. To the right of him in the shotgun is Ford. Chest high snap. Looks left. Scans back right. Sprints to his right at the numbers. Throws at the last second to the back of the end zone. He's got Simmons. Is he in? Yes! Austin Simmons, who dragged that foot right along the back chalk for a 7-yard 4th down touchdown pass from Larson, and the Blockbusters extend the lead.
I think Simmons came from across the field when he saw Larson start to scramble. He came towards Larson, and, I mean, a beautiful pass to him. He just broke wide open in the seam.
An absolute perfect ball. And as you mentioned, he probably sprinted a good 15 yards to get open from the opposite side. Carroll's extra point, an end-over-end kick, is good. So with 7:36 to go first quarter, the Blockbusters have a 14-0 lead over Fort Scott, and they have made it look easy so far. Quick drive, their first time they had it. This one, 6 plays, 21 yards, and 242. And it's the Blockbusters 14 and Fort Scott nothing on 99.9 The Rock. Garden City almost caught Fort Scott napping again. 7:31 to go, first quarter, 14-0 Brockbusters. Another onside kick. This time, the Greyhounds recover, but barely at their own 27, and that's where they start.
Really, Michael, it's not so much an onside kick as it's just a squib kick that they're failing to field.
Fort Scott starts at their own 26-yard line, moving left to right in a 2-touchdown hole with Jaya Wright. Transfer from Florida Tech. Hands it off to Kaiwan Morgan, banging off of left tackle, and he breaks the tackle. Left side number is 40, and into plus territory. Spun down at the Garden City 48-yard line. And Zay Robertson coming up from his safety spot to take him down after a 25-yard rumble on first down.
Left side of that offensive line just absolutely caved in our defensive line.
And that might be the first time we've actually seen that.
Yeah.
Fort Scott going hurry up, 1st and 10 at the Garden City 49. The Brockbusters might have been in the neutral zone. Right out of the shotgun, rolls left, floats a pass up the sideline, and it's dropped at the Garden City 28. Coming back again with Schmitz, but I believe this is offsides on Garden City.
Yeah, our left defensive end. This is the second time he's done it where he's jumped offsides trying to beat the snap.
Referee finally turned his mic on, and I didn't turn it on. So that puts the ball now at the Garden City 44-yard line. It's now 1st and 5 for Fort Scott. First time on the plus side of the 50 with Jaya Wright, starting quarterback in the shotgun with 2 receivers, right, 2 left. Fakes a handoff, Wright keeps right, and he slides down. I lost his footing. Christian Furman was right there. He wasn't going anywhere anyway. And he drops him between the hash marks at the Garden City 48. It's a loss of 4, and it's 2nd down and 9.
No, it's probably a good thing he did go down because he was going to catch one right in the face.
Yeah, and I don't know about his dental insurance, but there might have been some molars on the ground. 2nd down and 9, Fort Scott between the hash marks, right on the Brockbuster logo, on a picture-perfect, not a cloud in the sky day here in Garden City. It's 2nd and 9 for the Brockbuster 48 with trips right. Leighton Schmitz comes to the near side left. Right back to throw, wobbles one to the far side, incomplete at the numbers. And every pass, that went to Reese Thomas right at the 40. And CD, you have a better vantage point than we do. Every pass that he's thrown almost seems like it's like a foot short.
It kind of seemed that way last week against Highland as well. It's just, I don't know, the accuracy hasn't been there for him through these first 1 1/4 games so far this season.
Well, and plus the nose of the ball's down, it's not up.
He was 9 of 21 last week in the loss against Highland. 14-0 Garden, 6:23 to go, first quarter. And it's 3rd and 9, Fort Scott at the Garden City 48 with 3 receivers right, 1 left. Wright takes a chest high snap, puts it in the belly of Morgan, pulls it back out, breaks a tackle as he keeps it running right, and is buried behind the line by Jonathan Huggins, the Florida transfer, back at the Fort Scott 48 right hash mark. It's a loss of 4, and Fort Scott goes the wrong way. It's 4th down and 13.
Since that penalty, they lost 8 yards.
Yeah, they got the 25-yard run by Morgan, 5-yard penalty, and then went the wrong way.
48-yard line. It'll bring up 4th down and 13.
So Jonathan Huggins with that tackle for Garden City. Now Fort Scott punting again. Ishmael Roy had 9 punts last week.
Ishmael Roy back.
He spent the majority of the week with that right leg wrapped in ice, and that was the lack of offense from Fort Scott was probably an understatement against Highland. They were down 23-0 at one point. There's a wobbly spiral off the side of his foot, and it bounces out of bounds. Let's see where they mark this. Up the left sideline. I don't know if it's going to be around the 40-yard line. And they mark it at the 37 is exactly where they mark it. So that's where the Brockbusters start their next possession. That punt good for 15 yards. And it's 1st and 10, Garden City moving left to right. 5:28 to go in the first quarter. And it's 14-0 Garden City. If you're just tuning in, you've missed a lot. Devin Larson threw a touchdown pass to Jalen Williams. And another one to Austin Simmons. And they've also recovered an onside kick or a squib kick that Fort Scott failed to come up with. 1st and 10, Garden City at their own 37. Larson in the shotgun, 2 receivers left and right, chest high snap, hands for Ford, runs off left tackle, 45, back to the middle 50, and there he goes, to the Fort Scott 30, weaving through traffic 20, there goes Ford, touchdown Garden City. Jordan Ford exploding 63 yards to the house, and Garden City has blown it open with a 20-0 first quarter lead.
A delayed draw and nothing but green in front of him. That and the Garden City blockers.
You know, there was a question mark about the offensive line. We've talked about it not necessarily because of the talent, but because of the depth. If you have one guy hurt, which they did with Aaron Kurth, the signee from Colby, he's been out with a foot injury, but that offensive line paving the way for a 20-point first quarter. Carroll for the extra point. And it is good. 5:15 to go in the first quarter. One play, 63 yards, and it's Jordan Ford to the house, and it's 21-0 Garden City on 99.9 The Run. $21-0 with 5:15 to go in the first, alongside John Ford, C.D. DeSalvo, Mike Pilosoff. It has been all Bronxbusters. That might be an understatement, as Carroll's got it on the tee again, and there's another squib. And it bounces high, fielded by Fort Scott at their own 30-yard line. Running to the right is Jaquez Monica, and he goes backwards. He might have lost 7 yards back to his own 21-yard line.
The one thing about people that return the ball, you don't want to get caught going backwards. There was no way he was going to catch a ball over on the opposite side of the field. So he should have just taken it at least 3 or 4 yards forward. They would have been in a lot better field position than they are now.
He lost 8 yards.
Yeah.
First down, Fort Scott. At their own 22, moving right to left. 4:48 to go in the first. 21-0 Garden City. At 2-2, and it's a new quarterback in there now. It's the backup. This is Jake Connell, the lefty, who had a prolific high school career, and he is sacked coming to his left. And that's Eli Hill that drags him down from waist high from behind. Back at the 17, it's a loss of 5. So obviously they had seen enough from Wright, although he didn't really get much help.
No.
Second and 15. Connell, the freshman from Atchison, Kansas. 3 receivers right, 1 left on second down and a mile now. Second down and 15. Fort Scott on the left hash, moving right to left. Garden City with 4 down linemen. They have 5 defensive backs on the field. Connell changing the protection. The play clock at 10. Chastised snap, looks left and fires left. And that pass is hauled in. This is Jonathan Cradle, and he's up the left sideline across the 25 and driven out of bounds. Right around the 27-yard line by Cameron Johnson, one of the returners off Jerry Dominguez's defense from a year ago, out to the 29. It's a gain of 12. It's 3rd and 3. And quickly going no huddle.
And they just lost 5 yards.
False start.
And guys, Cottle was actually the starter last week against Highland.
And it was Wright that had that 88-yard touchdown run in the fourth quarter, so they did use both quarterbacks. I don't know what the discussion is here.
False start, offense, number 68. 5-yard penalty, replay second down.
We'll have to know technology is finally working.
3rd down.
There you go, buddy. So they get the big play, and then they back it up. So now 3rd down and 8 for Fort Scott at their own 24-yard line. So it's Cottle in the shotgun, and what a high school career he had. His dad, Tom, was a top 11 selection for Midway Denton back in the 80s. They were a prolific 8-man program in Kansas. Another bad snap, and Cottle picks it up all the way back inside his 15-yard line, and he's touched up there. That's the second snap that's gone over a quarterback's head, and once again, it's Eli Hill, the sophomore from Phoenix, Arizona, That plants him back inside the 15. That's a loss of 11 more, and Fort Scott continues to go the wrong way.
Michael, I think you said they had 17 yards at the break, last break. I think, I don't know what they have now, 6.
Yeah, I mean, it has not been good. And that's 2 snaps that they put on the ground. So Roy to punt this one away again. He had 9 punts last week. LeBourne back deep. End over end kick, and on the left hash mark, calls for a fair catch at the Fort Scott 45-yard line. It's a 33-yard punt, nothing on the return. 3 minutes to go here in quarter number 1 of the Blockbusters, dominating up 21-0, and they have the football back. If you were Tom Minnick, you couldn't have scripted this start any better. You've got Highland next week, and then you've got that big showdown, so you have to find a way not to overlook these next 2 opponents. And no disrespect, to Carson Hunter in his first year. You got Independence looming. And they right now, a lot of the coaches believe they're one of the top teams in the league. So now 1st and 10, Garden City, left hash at the Fort Scott 45-yard line. Larson calling out the signals. Wide left, Simmons. Single wide out to the near side right and a half diamond. Play action, Larson. Looks right, floats a pass right, and coming back to make the catch for Garden City is Kendall Drake. Breaking tackles right sideline, and Drake is out of bounds to the 20-yard line and driven out on the near side of the field by Mondo Walker. But it's a first down catch and run of 23.
Incredible timing between quarterback and receiver. I mean, he made the break, and right when he made the break, the ball was in his hands.
Larson has been on target, a couple of touchdown passes in the early going. Ball rests on the Fort Scott 22-yard line. Larson, the transfer from Iowa State, lines him up here with a tight end right. Williams and LeBourne go left. Half diamond for Larson. The H-back is Damus. Peters is the I-back, and they give it to Xavier Peters off left tackle, and he stumbles his way near the 20-yard line. Running behind a block that time of Carter Havoc, who's the starting center. That's Miles Jackson coming up from his Mike linebacker spot, gain of 2, and now it's 2nd down and 8, Garden City with 2 minutes to go in the first, up 21-0.
Mike, I'm thinking that every time Peters gets to run the ball, that is really a positive thing for Garden City, because you can tell his experience is going to increase as the season goes on, and he may come up big for us in a big game.
2nd down and 8, Garden City at the Fort Scott 20-yard line. Single wide out right, 2 to the near side left, and the handoff goes to Peters right up the middle. Gets a block from Damus, the tight end, who paves the way to the 13-yard line, right up that right hash mark. It's a gain of 7 more, and there's Miles Jackson again. Gain of 7, it's 3rd and 1.
You can tell Coach Minnick really likes Peters.
What's not to like?
Oh, it's like the hammer, and you have the nail. The nail's Ford, and the hammer is Peters.
Peters played in 3 games back in 2019. He originally, out of high school, was a 4-star product, and he signed with Florida State. He transferred to Kentucky, and then he came here as a linebacker, and now he's one of their tailbacks. It's 3rd and 1 Garden at the Fort Scott 13. 2 receivers go left, half diamond again for Larson. Damus, the tight end right, wide snap, and he fields it. Hands it off to Ford up the middle, and he's inside the 5, down near the 3, and another Blockbuster first down. Tripped up by Jackson again. Also Austin Hollins, the outside linebacker. Gains 10. It's 1st and goal.
So you have you got Peters, who's a hammer, softens him up, and then you bring in Ford the nail and just let him go through.
It's a lethal combination.
Yes, it is.
Peters last week 10 carries for 45 yards and a touchdown. Had an 18-yard run. Final half minute of the first quarter, and I believe a timeout. And we get to actually catch our breath with 29 seconds to go in this first quarter.
Garden City was missing a lineman here, so they call it a timeout.
Timeout. Garden City. That's their first charge of the half.
All right, let's get you caught up to speed. A lot has happened in the first 14 minutes and 31 seconds of this opening quarter alongside John Ford, C.D. DeSalvo, Mike Pilosoff. It's 21-0 Garden City. And again, if you're just tuning in, this is what you've missed. Blockbusters on their opening drive, they missed a field goal. They came back after that, though. And they got a 3-play, 43-yard drive that was capped off with a Devin Larson to Jalen Williams 21-yard touchdown pass. It was a beauty. It was a rainbow. And the 6'7" wideout came down with it. Next possession, after they I mean, it's been an adventure for Fort Scott on the squib kick. So the Blockbusters have another short field. They go 6 plays, 21 yards, and Larson on 4th down rolls right, and at the last second flings a pass to Austin Simmons, who tight ropes the back line for a 7-yard touchdown. They added a Jordan Ford 63-yard score, and it's 21-0. And right now, just looking at the numbers, the Blockbusters have outgained Fort Scott 180-12, 6 first downs to 1. And now they have a 1st and goal at the Fort Scott 3, moving left to right. The ball rests just inside the right hash.
Having that kind of yardage and not as many first downs, that means we're chunking plays.
Dawson Otto comes in as one of 2 tight ends from Mike Orthman's offense. You know, I asked Devin Larson, I'll get to this after this play, about the complexity of this offense with Mike Orthman. 2 receivers go left with 2 tight ends. Half diamond for Larson. Helmet high snap, turns and hands for Peters. Blasts up the middle, at the 1, spinning towards the goal line. Did he get in? No signal as of yet. And dragged down from behind by Easton Dent. Here comes the Wildcat.
Half-yard short.
So a gain of about 2.5, sets up 2nd and goal from inside the 1-yard line. Do they get this play off before the end of the quarter? Final 5 seconds. Jonathan Huggins is the Wildcat quarterback. And that's the end of the first quarter. And they were being not being very deliberate there in getting into the huddle. So 1 quarter complete. Garden City absolutely dominates Fort Scott, outgains them 182-18. And when we start the second, they have a short yardage situation. It's 2nd and goal inside the 1. 21-0 Garden at 99.9 The Rock.
Slide to the right. Crisscross.
So it's 2nd and goal from inside the 1-yard line for Garden City. They had the Wildcat package out there, and they still do. To begin the second quarter, they're now moving right to left at a 21-0 lead. They were running this in practice the other day, and Jonathan Huggins is basically the do-everything guy. They've got 3 tight ends. Huggins and the Wildcat on 2nd and goal from inside the 1. Peters to his right. Receiver in motion right to left. Snap to Huggins, and he walks in right up the middle behind Namonte Decor. Touchdown, Garden City, and it's 27-0 early in the second.
Mike, that hole is huge. And the great thing is Huggins read the play perfect. I mean, he sat back there, waited till the hole was there, and boom, he exploded through it.
You know, Fort Scott, when I was talking to Carson Hunter last night, and I asked him about the first game, he said, look, I said, what was the thing that surprised you about your team? It's your first head coaching job at this level, about how they performed last week. Is Carroll's extra point is good, just squeaks in the left upright. And as we go to break, he said, I figured we had a ways to go, but man, when I watched us, we have a ways, and he emphasized the A, ways to go. And the extra point good. It's 28-0 Garden City with 14:56 left in the first half on 99.9 The Rock. Well, they finally kicked it deep. It's Kelton Bertonini who fields it at his own 20, runs left for Fort Scott out near the 28. It's about an 8-yard return with 14:48 to go here in the second quarter. Alongside John Ford, C.D. DeSalvo, Mike Pilosoff. The Brockbusters up 28-0, and Fort Scott has the ball back. Now moving left to right, and they have done absolutely nothing with it. Just one first down here in the first half, and they've changed quarterbacks. Cottle was in the last time. Jaya Wright is back in there now. And he hands for Morgan under center on first down, goes left, comes back right, and he is swarmed under on the left hash mark near the 30-yard line. Blockbuster tackle by Zay Robertson coming up from that safety spot, the freshman from Lakeland, Florida. That's a gain of 2, and it's 2nd down and 8.
MJ Fuller, the ball carrier.
We're going to go no huddle.
2nd and 8 with a tight end to the near side right. That's Bertini. Wide left goes Clayton Schmitz. So we've seen both quarterbacks in this game. Right goes under center. That's the backside of his center. Brockbusters with 8 men near the line of scrimmage. Play action right as he rolls to his right. Chased by Shamar Pearl, who's back from injury this week. And he's escorted out of bounds very close to a first down. They're going to say he stepped out at the 36. It's a gain of 6. It's 3rd and 2 now for Fort Scott, trailing 28-0 a minute into the second quarter. 3rd and 2, Fort Scott at their own 35. 2 receivers left and 2 right. They are calling everything at the line of scrimmage. Reese Thomas slot left, wide left Schmitz. Bertonini to the near side right in a slot right. Right in the shotgun, play clock at 10. Chest high snap, here comes the blitz. Unloads over the middle, and it's almost intercepted at the 45 of Fort Scott. And that was Roberson that had his hands on it. He was backpedaling near midfield, and it's 4th down.
I'll tell you what, if that tip is a little bit less, then Fort Scott catches the ball and goes for a touchdown. Sometimes it's great you undercut the ball or the pass, but in that particular case, it could have been deadly for us.
Son drops back deep for Garden City. Rugby-style kick off the side of his foot, end-over-end kick, out of bounds. And let's see where they mark this one off. They're just trying to keep it away from the return man for Garden City. And across the 35, it's going to be near the 40 at the 37-yard line. So a 27-yard punt, nothing on the return. 13:25 to go in the first half, and Garden City has a 28-0 lead. Devin Larson with a pair of touchdowns. Jonathan Huggins with a rushing touchdown. Jordan Ford with a 63-yard rushing touchdown. And again, Fort Scott with just 1 first down under first-year head coach Carson Hunter, who was an assistant at Murray State, which incidentally, if you know anything about the history of Brockbuster football, Bob Larson, the Hall of Famer, longtime coach, former athletic director. He coached at Murray State. He was an offensive assistant over there. 1st and 10, Garden City at their own 38. In the shotgun, Larson hands it off for Jordan Ford, sifting his way left, cuts back right, and stood up near the 40-yard line.
That time, a little bit of counter action.
And that was actually Hodges, not Ford, on the carry. So that's out to the 40-yard line after a gain of 2. It's 2nd down. And we'll call it a long 7, close to 8.
Mike, you know, something I thought was interesting last week. Coach Minnick mentioned that some of these kids have been taught more at the junior college level than they have been at the Division I level.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, that is.
2nd and 7, Garden City at their own 41. Half diamond for Larson with 2 receivers right. Dawson Otto, the tight end, left. Chest high snap to Larson. Designed rollout right to the hash mark. Pumps and fires down the right sideline. Has LeBourne there, and it's incomplete. And the defensive back, whose head was not turned around, was not looking for the ball. And the ball basically hit the back of the helmet of A.J. McCorkle, the safety, the redshirt freshman from Conyers, Georgia. So now it's 3rd and 7. That's the first time I've seen Devin Larson underthrow his receiver.
It's kind of unusual. I'll tell you what, a great call, though, because they were going with an inside blitz, and he had a lot of room to roam out there, Devin did.
A.J. McCorkle, whose backside was the defensive player that time. So that's where that pass hit. He's a transfer from Murray State. 3rd and 7, Garden City from their own 41-yard line.
Bingo.
3 receivers go right, 1 to the near side left.
Wide 80.
And this play blown dead.
Play clock ran out.
And it did expire with 12:30 left here in the second quarter.
5-yard penalty. Remains third down.
Bingo was obviously a check down. They did something.
Third down and 12.
And if you look at just this first half again, Fort Scott with 20 total yards. 3rd and 12, Garden City
Bingo. Left side Mike. Set.
at their own 35-yard line.
Wide 80.
Larson in the shotgun with 3 receivers right. Waist-high snap, 4-man twist from Fort Scott. Steps up in the pocket, under pressure, and down he goes at the 35-yard line. A rare sack given up by this offensive line. That was Sherman Allen, the transfer from Northland Junior College, with a waist-high sack. Back near the 34. It's a loss of about a yard. The Brockbusters short circuit. They punt now with 12 minutes to go in the second quarter.
Defensive backs did a good job covering us. Devin didn't have any place to go with the ball, so it looked like he was getting ready to tuck the ball and run.
Carroll to punt this one away from his own 20-yard line. And a wobbly spiral. Reese Thomas back deep, lets it bounce. Takes a Fort Scott hop to the 21-yard line. And that's where the Brockbusters down it. With less than 12 minutes to go in the first half, a 45-yard punt, nothing on the return. 11:41 to go until halftime. It's all Garden City. The Brockbusters with a 28-0 lead. You can expect to see some reserves in the second half.
Yeah.
That was the first empty possession offensively for Garden City.
Besides the missed field goal, obviously. But
Yes.
1st and 10, that's a good point because they have been running right through this Fort Scott defense. 1st and 10, Fort Scott from their own 21. They've been alternating quarterbacks. Wright stays in there, drops back, got a great block, and then floats one down the middle. Jump ball, and that is caught. Hauled into the 30-yard line and breaking tackle, still on his feet, is Mystical McGee, whose grandmother named him Mystical after the rapper, all the way down to the 18-yard line. That was a jump ball, a pop fly pass. It's 61 yards, and it's first down Fort Scott.
The Whitehead just ran by the flag.
That's going to be pass interference
Yeah.
against the defense.
Yeah.
And he still caught the ball.
Yep.
Yeah.
But the Whitehead might want to pick up that flag and help that back judge out a little bit.
The flag was 30 yards behind the play.
Pass interference. Defense. Number 20. That penalty declined. Result of the play is 1st and 10, Fort Scott.
That was Zay Roberson, who's been busy in this first half. He's the one that committed the infraction. So Fort Scott reaches the red zone for the first time today. And remember last week, Arkansas Baptist didn't have that big passing play in the second half, their lone score. First down from the Garden City 18. Play action. Wright whips it over the middle. He's got Thomas on a slant down to the 5-yard line. And a collision at the 5 between he and Chris Smith. And that's a gain of 13 and a first down. Smith right there. 1st and goal from the 3. It's a handoff coming to the near side right. Check that, a little screen to the right. And that's caught by Mystical McGee once again, but he's spun down behind the line of scrimmage back near the 6, and that's a loss of 3. And it's 2nd down and goal. 2nd and goal, Fort Scott from the 6-yard line.
2nd down and goal from the 7.
Been an ugly start for them. They finally got some positive yardage. 2nd and goal from the 6 with 2 receivers left. Reese Thomas in a slot left. His 61-yard grab put them in this position. And maybe a false start here.
Jacob Batten here with the jump.
False start. Offense. Number 88. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
You know, it's interesting. Last week, Arkansas Baptist had just a tick under 90 yards. They got 60 of those on one play. The rest of the afternoon was all Garden City. And now Fort Scott basically doing the same thing. This puts them back to the 10-yard line. It's 2nd and goal from there. Wright's in the shotgun with Morgan on his right hip. 2 receivers left and 2 right. Under pressure on an all-out blitz. And Wright is decked back at the Garden City 25. The first one to hit him, and coming in unimpeded that time, was Sean Smith, the linebacker for Garden City, and he drops him at the 22. It's a loss of 12. 3rd and goal.
Coach came off the field a little bit dinged.
3rd and 12 now for Fort Scott at the Garden City 22. Changing the play. 9:48 to go in the half. 28-0 Garden City. Giant right has Kaiwan Morgan on his left hip. 2 receivers left and 2 to the near side right, including Jaquez Monica. Helmet high shotgun snap. 5-man pressure. Zips it over the middle, and it's thrown behind Jacob Batten, who was the guilty party earlier in the drive on that false start. The pass was thrown behind him, and now it's 4th and goal, Fort Scott from the Garden City 22. So even when they get a positive play on that 61-yard pass play, they go backwards again.
They about gave up half the yardage they gained. I'll tell you what, our pass rush is devastating.
That offensive line, which goes 296, 324, 288, 270, 272. They may need some protein shakes because I'm telling you right now, at this level against these defensive lines, I'm not going to get it done. Ishmael Roy on for a 40-yard field goal from the right hash. Out of the hold of J.D. Wiggins, and this play is blown dead. Maybe a timeout.
There were 4 seconds left on the play clock.
Again. So we've seen Garden City have that issue, and now a timeout called by Fort Scott with 9:28 to go.
Garden City. That's their second charge of the half.
The first half has been about 2 things. One, the Blockbusters, look, you didn't need to pick up a roster or anything else to understand that Garden City is one of the premier teams right now in this league. So that's one thing that's in play. That's one of the variables. The second thing is, look, Fort Scott's just not very good. And it's not because they don't have talent. They don't have enough talent. And that's, I think, what Carson Hunter had pointed out. This is a numbers game in this league. Jeff Sims did it when he was at Fort Scott. He changed things. You know, they were one of the worst teams in the league. And Ryan Rhodes had left. Jeff Sims came in there. And then they went to the national championship game in 2009. They lost to Cam Newton's Blinn team. And then after that, he leaves. Curtis Horton takes over. Not very good again. Cale Pitt comes in there. In the last 3 years, John, he was an assistant. He was a quarterbacks coach at Garden City High School.
Yeah.
He came in and kind of revamped things, and he got some really good quarterbacks to come in there.
Yeah.
And then he resigns, and now you've got another coach who has no coaching experience at this level, and it's going to take some time. And right now you're seeing that. It's 28-0, and that's the talent disparity on full display.
What I kind of wonder is how they're going to look in the fall. You know, is this going to help them later in the, you know, when we go into our 2021 season?
40-yard field goal, Wiggins to hold. Snap back, placement good. Roy swings that right leg through the end over end kick, and it splits the uprights. So Fort Scott is on the board with 9:19 remaining in the second quarter. 28-3 Garden City on 99.9 The Rock. Alongside John Ford, Cedar DeSalvo, Mike Pilosoff, the Blockbusters. A 28-3 lead as Fort Scott finally on that board. That last drive, 6 plays, 57 yards. Of course, they had the big completion. I should say 6 plays, 79 yards. They had the big completion and then a penalty that ended any chance of a touchdown. But they get a 40-yard field goal by Roy. And now the Blockbusters about to get the football back. A spinning kick. This is LeBourne, right side numbers at his own 5-yard line. Comes back left between the hash marks 25-30. There goes LeBourne right up the middle. Zigzags to the 50. And there he goes. 30 to the Fort Scott 20. Right up the middle. 10-5 touchdown. 95-yard return by Cameron LeBourne, the freshman from Norfolk, Virginia. And the Blockbusters have a 34-3 lead. He could just keep running like Forrest Gump right out of the stadium.
Wow, that was, I'll tell you what, the blocking was fabulous. And I'll tell you, every block that was in front of him, he would blow by. So, I mean, it was well blocked. And What speed. And a great job of cutting back when he needed to.
95-yard return. Carroll on for the extra point. Snap is back. The placement is good. The end over end kick is right down the middle. 9:02 to go in the second quarter. The offense can take a break because the defense is coming back out again. It's 35-3 Garden City on 99.9 The Rock.
Correction, that was Leo Marini.
Leo Marini, the soccer and football player for the Blockbusters, boots that one out of the end zone for his first career touchback. With 9:02 to go here in the second quarter, 35-3, Blockbusters with the lead. Alongside John Ford, C.D. DeSalvo roaming the sidelines. Mike Pilosoff on a picture-perfect afternoon. 83 degrees here in Garden City. And the offense has been fired up. And the defense has looked sharp, and the special teams. So the only thing Garden City needs now is a defensive touchdown, which they had last week. And you have a complete game. First,
their defensive back has rushed for a touchdown.
That is true.
Will take over on their own 25
And now a flag comes out from the back judge. I'm not sure.
Flag before the snap.
Play clock has expired.
Yep, it's still a game.
How do you get a delay of game off of a kickoff? Man. Like, seriously, you had 40
Delay of
seconds.
game. Offense. Number 10. 5-yard penalty. It remains first down.
It's about a,
With the ball back to the 20-yard
call it
line.
about 5.5, 6 hour drive from Fort Scott to Garden City. Half the offensive line and the offense never got off the bus. First and 15 now, Fort Scott from their own 20-yard line. Down 35-3. And this is Kaiwan Morgan stretching it left. And he's dumped for a yard loss inside the hash marks back at the 19-yard line. So the Blockbuster defensive pursuit in there again. The tackle made by Mark Robinson, who's a backup interior lineman for Garden City, and it's 2nd down and 11.
Boy, if you're an offensive man, you better have your head on a swivel because they're going to come right through you.
I don't want to be in that offensive meeting room this week. 2 receivers right, 1 left. 2nd and 11, Fort Scott from their own 19. Right is out. This is Connell throwing one deep left sideline near midfield. And it's incomplete to Clayton Schmitz, and it's now 3rd down and 10. And I was talking about Connell earlier. Connell is a freshman from Atchison, Kansas. He played at Mar Hill Prep Mount Academy. He had interest from Iowa State, KU, K-State. Mentioned his dad was one of the best 8-man players in the state back in the mid-'80s with Midway Denton. That school no longer exists. They consolidated, but they won 7 8-man state titles if you followed Kansas high school football. So his dad's kind of an 8-man legend, and this is a guy that threw for 7,000 passing yards in high school. He's got a 3rd and 16 from his own 19. Trips to the near side right. Single wideout is Clayton Schmitz to the far side left, the transfer from Northern State University. Reese Thomas trots in motion from right to left. Play clock at 8. Morgan on the right hip of the quarterback, Connell the lefty. The southpaw fires left, and it's incomplete. Nobody there. In fact, the closest receiver was CD, and now it's 4th down and 16.
Talking about CD DeSalvo.
That's the only CD I know.
Well, John Ford had about 3 carries last week
He did. I did hear that.
instead of Jordan Ford.
John Ford and Jordan. You guys, any relation?
Well, I'll tell you what, that young man would make me look good if we were related.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Ford was a little banged up coming into this week, but obviously okay to play today. And another punt for Ishmael Roy with a flag out. Another rugby-style kick, line drive punt. Takes a hop at midfield, fielded by Garden City. This is Sod. Up the left numbers to the 40 and maneuvers his way to the 39. It's an 11-yard return following a 31-yard punt. Let's check the flag.
Either it's an illegal formation or we had too many men on the field.
It's one of those two.
It's got to be.
You realize there's still 7:48 to go in the second
I
quarter?
know this is exhausting.
It's 35-3.
It's a good kind of exhausting, though.
Well, it is. But remember, the first 3 minutes plus of the first quarter took, I don't know, 20 minutes?
Yep.
And now another long discussion. So just to fill you in on what's happened and how we've got to 35-3, the Blockbusters have scored on special teams and offense. A 95-yard LeBourne kickoff return for a touchdown. A couple of touchdown passes by Devin Larson. And still trying to figure out what they're going to get the explanation from Bruce Pinkall.
There is no foul on the play. After further review, the play was legal. 1st and 10.
Further review?
Yeah, he pulled out his cell phone.
Where the hell's the monitor?
I don't know, but the video was on his phone.
After thinking.
7:48 to go here in quarter number 2, and the Blockbusters have a 35-3 lead. They have the ball now at the Fort Scott 39. Devin Larson remains in at quarterback. How much longer? Who the hell knows at this point? 2 receivers right. Half diamond for Larson. Ford is behind him. Damus is the H-back. Turns left, hands for Ford, puts it under that left armpit. And he's inside the 40, down near the 39, and wrestled to the ground by one of the interior linemen. That was Jerome Denson after no gain. So second down
That was one
and
of those
10.
plays where they pull the guard and the tackle, and they try to muck things up on that one side, and they hope Ford scores through. That time he didn't have a chance.
Flip left. 95 punch.
You know, if you figure Jaden Hayes last year, right? He was the little scat back for Garden City. There's a lot of similarities between he and Ford. I asked Tom Innick who was faster. He thought Jaden Hayes was faster. I might think that he might take that back.
Right side's Mike.
Second down and 10, Garden City at the Fort Scott 39. Handoff, this is Ford again, sifting his way up the middle. Plenty of running room inside the 30. Left hash mark leans forward to the 29-yard line. And that was Jalen Greer on the tackle, the defensive back, the transfer from Southeast Missouri State, where he redshirted in 2019. That's a gain of 10 right there, and that's enough for a first down.
I think Coach Minnick needs to get Ford out of there.
I think he's nicked up. Line, which is good for another Blockbuster. First.
And Ford does come to the sideline, and that brings Devian Hodges, who's actually walking on to this program. Last week, 9 carries for 19 yards, and it's 1st and 10, Garden City on the move from right to left. 6:27 to go here in the opening half. Third play of this drive. Blockbusters up 35-3. Larson in the shotgun. Jalen Williams, a touchdown reception left. LeBourne and Simmons right. Play action. Back to throw. Larson zips one left. Is that scooped up by Williams at the 11? No. Incomplete near sideline as he was working on Jalen Greer. So it's 2nd down and 10. Right near the 10-yard
Skipped
line.
off the ground.
Almost a catch.
Pass intended for Jalen Williams.
What do you think of Larson so far? 2 games, well, not 2 full games, but a game and a half.
Well, you know, in pregame he said the wind kind of is hard to throw against. Well, I remember he had a play in the second half of last week's game where he threw against the wind, and he threw it for about 50 yards. I think he's the deal. And I really do.
2nd and 10, Garden City from the Fort Scott 29. Larson takes the snap, hands it off for Jordan Ford. Check that this is Hodges in there. Ford walked off a moment ago, and Hodges starts wide left and then bounces back right inside the numbers and is hit by Jerome Denson waist high, pick up a 4, and it's now 3rd and 6.
I wonder when the heat's going to start taking effect, because it looks like some of our offensive linemen are getting a little bit draggy down there. And
that's a good point, John, because for the most part, the whole spring has been, 35, 40 degrees with 70-mile-an-hour wind.
Yeah, and you see some guys kind of fatigued out there right now.
3rd and 6, Garden City at the Fort Scott 25. Blockbusters on 3rd down, 2 of 5. 3 receivers go right, 1 left. Chest high snap. Fort Scott rushes 4. Larson well protected. Floats one left back corner of the end zone for Williams, and it's incomplete. That was there. Williams having a tough time tracking it. Greer was back in coverage. And it's now 4th down and 6.
Jalen Greer on the coverage.
So now you would figure that Garden City's going to go for it.
They are.
It'll bring up 4th down and 6 from the 25-yard line.
Trying to open up this game, which was basically opened up when a squib kick was recovered.
I knew 79 was fatigued. Boy, he just lost his lunch.
That's Carter Havoc. Yeah.
That's your center.
I'm telling you, it's a little different when you're playing in the spring as opposed to the fall.
And with all that equipment on, I guarantee you it's hotter than I'll get up.
I'll be thrown up as well. 4th and 6, Garden City at the Fort Scott 25. They were 1 for 3 on 4th down last week. They have a touchdown on 4th down this week. Trips right. Single wide out is Drake left. Chest high snap to Larson, the Iowa State transfer. Well protected at the numbers, throws on the run and incomplete through the hands of Son at the Fort Scott 13-yard line.
I'm sitting there trying to figure out how that was not interference.
There's a flag down.
There's a flag.
There is a flag on the play.
I mean, he basically grabbed him around the waist.
Yeah.
And I believe that was that Jalen Gaines? No, that was Mondo Walker, I believe the one that was holding him. We'll check. It's been a first half completely dominated by Garden City. Devin Larson, transfer from Iowa State, has thrown a couple of touchdown passes. He's only 3 of 10, but you figure 2 of those 3 completions have been touchdowns.
Holding, defense. Number 25, 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. It is 1st down.
That puts the ball inside the red zone at the 15-yard line, and that's where the Bronxbusters have it 1st and 10 with 5 minutes to go here in the second quarter. We might be seeing a lot of Mike Irwin and Jazz Dominguez at quarterback in the second half.
You know, the thing about Devin Larson is the fact that, I don't think it's time to panic, but, the completion percentage has got to raise a little bit.
Well, he's got to get some help from his receivers.
Yeah, he does.
1st and 10, Garden City at the Fort Scott 15. Larson and a half diamond. Ford is back in there with 2 receivers right. Turn left, hand for Ford, sweeping left towards the numbers. And as he cuts back, he's hit and dropped at the 12-yard line after a gain of about 3. And the tackle made by Miles Jackson.
As fatigued as our offensive line is getting, their defensive line is getting fatigued. 58 had a hard time getting up that time for Fort Scott.
Mark it at the 10, so it's a gain of 5, and it's 2nd down and 5 from the 10-yard line. Ball on the left hash with 4.5 to go in the second quarter. 35-3 Garden City, and they're on the move once again. It's the 7th play of this drive. Tight end left. Half diamond for Larson with 2 receivers right. Hands it for Ford right up the middle. Follows his blockers into the end zone. Jordan Ford, touchdown. Helmets flying everywhere. He basically went untouched up the middle. A 10-yard rushing touchdown. His 2nd of the half, and it's 41-3. When you talk about domination, we can sit here on the radio for the next 2 hours and describe exactly what Garden City is doing to Fort Scott. I don't think we need to do that because you can hear it.
Yeah.
But this much is certain. Through 2 weeks thus far, as the extra point by Carroll is up and good. It's 42-3. The offensive line has been superb, minus one of their key players in Aaron Kurth, who is back today but not starting. 4:12 left here in the half. It's 42-3 Garden City on 99.9 The Rock.
Come on, Morgan on the return. There is a flag on the play.
Kywan Morgan just got absolutely obliterated that time on special teams.
Mike, and they're going to move the ball back because Austin Hollins, number 48 for Fort Scott, he absolutely clipped somebody big time. I mean,
Well, the return was good for about 12 yards, and it was, I believe that was Wembley Malai that made that tackle for Garden City. And it's going to put them back inside their own 20. 42-3 Garden City with 4 minutes to go. Jordan Ford, his second rushing touchdown of the first half.
I don't know who Hollins clipped, but I'll tell you what, he was lucky to get up because Hollins hit him right in the back and slid down into his knees.
As we await the call, which we kind of expect with 4 minutes to go and some change here in the second quarter. It's 42-3 Garden City. Jordan Ford with 2 rushing touchdowns. Devin Larson has thrown a pair of touchdowns. They have a LeBourne 95-yard kickoff return for a touchdown.
Illegal block in the back. Return team, number 36. It'll be a 10-yard penalty from the end of the run. It is. First down.
I should call that on Nate Thompson.
Yeah, it was on Hollins.
Got the wrong number.
I tracked him the whole way.
So wipe out the 12-yard return, which he was lucky to get that. And now that puts the ball back at the 10-yard line. First and 10, Fort Scott from their own 10, down 42-3, and we still have time remaining in the first half. This is Morgan off left tackle as he spins his way across the 15 left hash mark. And a waist-high step near the 16-yard line by Sean Smith.
You know, Kurt's on the sideline, not dressed out.
Yeah, it was a question coming in. He was here, but again, coming off the foot injury, not playing today.
It'll bring up second down and 5.
So a gain of 5 yards on first down, 2nd and 5, and a quick throw left by Jaya Wright is bobbled, and they say caught.
What?
No, now they said incomplete.
No, they called it
Well, they
complete.
did call it complete.
Yeah.
One guy said one thing, the other one said another. That was Jonathan Cradle, and he's out to the 23.
Correction, it is complete to the 24-yard line. It'll bring up first down and 10 for the Greyhounds.
So they do get the first down. 1st and 10, Fort Scott from their own 24. Right back to throw. Zips one left, and it's caught by Morgan into the 25-yard line. Gain of a yard. Sean Smith there on the tackle, and it's 2nd down and 9.
Kind of going with a no-huddle, dink and dunk type of offense right now.
Morgan with the completion.
They got to find something that they're going to be successful at and try to build on it.
Sean Smith on the stop.
Gain of a yard there. It's 2nd down and 9 now. Fort Scott from their own 25. Less than 3 to go in the half.
Gain of 1 on the play. It'll bring up second down and 9.
And the Blockbusters with that 42-3 lead. Jai Wright, who had one possession when he went to the bench, actually 2 possessions, comes back to throw on 2nd down and 9, and his pass over the middle is a line drive that's incomplete near the 35-yard line. That was intended for Mystical McGee. When I looked and saw that, you know, I don't know anything about your rapping historical context there, John Ford, but Mystical, the rapper, if anybody listening at home knows that, that's who he's named after. His grandmother actually named him that after the rapper. Now it's 3rd down and 9. Fort Scott from their own 25-yard line, and a quick out to the left is dropped by Reese Thomas at the 30-yard line. So now it's 4th and 9, and another punting situation for Fort Scott, down 42-3.
Now, in my era, it was Howdy Doody. And so,
Yeah, there wasn't
thank
any
God-
rap back in the.
No, thank God my mom didn't name me after Howdy Doody.
That's a good point.
That was what we call the golden age of hip hop.
Golden, yes. So Fort Scott punting again. Roy off his side of his foot again. The right-footed punter boots this one out of bounds near the Blockbuster 40-yard line with 2.5 to go, and going to put that at the 45.
I don't know about their offense, but their kicker is progressively getting better.
30-yard punt, nothing on the return.
That's where they'll take
So
over.
2:30 remaining here in the half. And maybe one more possession we see from Devin Larson, and then that might be it. And the backups should be getting the call in the second half.
This is where you're going to create depth, is today.
1st and 10, Garden City on the left hash at their own 45-yard line. 2 receivers left, 2 right. Larson on the shotgun.
Down.
Ford on his right hip. Ford out lineman. They have 5 in the secondary. Helmet high snap, and it's a draw to Ford. Up the middle. Cuts to his left across the 45 near the numbers 47-yard line after a gain of 2. And tackled by Miles Jackson at the 47. Second down and 8. Rockbusters going no huddle here from their own 47-yard line. Larson in the shotgun. Straight back to throw. Floats one left incomplete. And the receiver had not come out of his break yet. That was Austin Simmons, and the pass was high. Left sideline at the Fort Scott 45. So now it's third down and 8. Garden City at their own 47, leading 42-3 with less than 2 minutes to go here in the second quarter. And
Please place 2 minutes, 5 seconds on the game clock. 2:05. Thank you.
Clock operator half asleep. Third down and 8. Rockbusters from their own 47-yard line. Larson in the shotgun. Ford to his right. Jalen Williams, one of 3 receivers to the right. Larson takes the snap. Fort Scott rushes 4. They drop 7. Larson looks left, fires left, and it's caught by Drake.
Hold on.
And he's inside the 45 down to the 43-yard line. Gains 10 on 3rd and 8 and a Blockbuster first down.
You know, it's really interesting hearing Larson.
Yeah, you get kind of an inside depth, like a more of an inside, I'm not going to say look, but if you're watching on the stream or you're listening on the radio, of the cadence and what he's doing as far as directing this offense. And it's now 1st and 10, Garden City at the Fort Scott 43-yard line. 1:40 left here in the half. Trips to the right. Larson takes the chest-high shotgun snap. Under pressure and hit and sacked for the second time. It was Jerome Denson that brought him down back at midfield, loss of 7, and now it's 2nd and 17 with 1:20 to go.
His initial receiver didn't break open, so once he didn't break open, he was kind of, because it was a quick hitter.
So now 2nd and 17. Quick snap on 2nd and long and a quick slant to the right as Larson hits Simmons down to the 42-yard line along the right hash. Gains 8. Tackle made by Jalen Greer, and now it's 3rd down and 9. And check that was Son on the catch. Make it to the 42, so it's 3rd and 9 Garden City. Larson straight back to throw again. Hit as he throws, comes back to the near side, and it's caught by Drake. What a catch coming back to the ball inside the 25 down to the 20-yard line. Pushed out of bounds on the near side by Darius Allen. But that was Jerome Denson that came in and hit the quarterback. It's a gain of 20. And the Blockbusters have a first down with 38 seconds to go.
You can kind of feel the receivers gaining confidence as we go through this two-minute offense.
Put 42 seconds on the game clock. 4-2. 4-2. Thank you.
Mark it out at the 24, so officially a gain of 18 yards there. 1st and 10 Garden City. Left hash at the Fort Scott 24-yard line of 42-3. 3 receivers, right, 1 left. And that snap count.
Right guard.
That was Balaganai. That's the second time he's been drawn off.
Ball start. Offense. Number 66. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down. First down.
Put the ball back inside the, they put it at the 28-yard line. First and 15 Garden City. They're up 42-3.
Yeah.
Final 40 seconds of the first half, and the referee didn't turn his mic off. Ball on the left hash. Jalen Williams to the near side left. Damus, Son, and Drake go right. Larson on the gun. Straight back to throw Larson. Well protected. Floats one to the end zone for Williams. He's got it. Was he in bounds? No, he's out of bounds. Back left pylon. Williams made the catch over the shoulder in the back left corner of the end zone. And the defensive back, Jalen Greer.
What did CD see? Did he drag his foot, or was he clearly out?
No, he couldn't get him down in time.
Okay.
So now it's 3rd and 15 Garden City. After the incomplete pass to Williams. At the Fort Scott 28-yard line. 3 receivers right, 1 go left. Larson in the shotgun. Fort Scott with 5 defensive backs on the field. Roll out right for Larson. At the numbers, looks and fires. Pass is caught by Son, but he's out of bounds. In the 16-yard line on the far side of the field, pushed out by Mondo Walker. And now it's fourth down. Check that third down.
Mondo Walker on the coverage.
27 seconds left in the first half.
15 for the 28-yard line.
3rd and 15, Garden City from the Fort Scott 28. Williams comes wide left on the numbers. Damus, Son, and Simmons go right.
Right side, Mike.
4 to the right of Larson in the shotgun.
Wide 80. Start.
Takes a chest high snap. Larson drops back. 3-step drop. Steps up in the pocket, rolls to his left, throws on the run, and it's almost intercepted, and then off the carom, almost caught by Son, left sideline at the Fort Scott 10. So that one batted around like a volleyball, and now it's 4th down and 15.
It'll bring up 4th down and 15 from the 28.
Larson's getting pretty good protection by that offensive line.
He's only 6 of 17, and he sailed a couple of passes in this game, but he has not had much help.
That last one he sailed, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
So now 4th and 15, Garden City at the Fort Scott 28-yard line. So they keep the offense on the field with 20 seconds.
Down.
2 receivers right. Austin Simmons comes left. Damus in a slot left.
Wide 80. Start.
Larson takes a waist-high snap. Fort Scott rushes 4. They drop 7. Larson looks right and fires right. He's got Williams along the numbers and slung down near the 16-yard line by Greer after a gain of 12. He's short of a first down, and Fort Scott takes over on downs with 12 seconds to go.
Nice play. Wasn't far enough for the first down, but it was a nice play.
You figure Fort Scott will just take a knee, and
15-yard line, 1st down and 10.
this first half for them will mercifully come to an end. 42-3 Garden City. And CD pointed this out earlier. That's 3 possessions now where Garden City hasn't scored. It could be a heck of a lot worse. Fort Scott takes a knee, and the first half comes to an end. Thoughts? Let the smoke come out of your ears, John.
I'll tell you what, I mean, you sit here and we say Fort Scott's one of those types of teams where, you should really hammer them. Well, we're doing that. And we're doing what we were supposed to do. I talked to CD last week about, how speculation is that Garden City is going to run roughshod over these first 3 opponents. Well, if they don't, then obviously they're not what we expect. Well, they are, and they are exactly what we expect. And so that's my initial thought. Now, my next thought is that, hey, how are we going to create depth? How are we going to stay away from injury in this second half? Because I think both things are really important, and still maintain the continuity and consistency of our offense and our defense.
42-3, Garden City with the lead at the break. Your Morton's halftime report is next on 99.9 The Rock. All right, before we go, let's go down to CD's on the sideline with Tom Minnick. Go ahead, CD.
Coach Minnick, offensively, put up 42 points in the first half. What was the reason for the success and off to a better start than last week?
It's really not success. We didn't play very well. The kids kind of knew it coming in, but teams that you're supposed to beat, we're not playing very well. And I can say that because we expect more of our kids, and we're not. It's just not playing very well. We're sloppy, and we're not doing things right, and had a bad week of practice, and it's not going very well right now.
Well, defensively, you held them under 100 yards, gave up 3 points, but what can you do better defensively in the second half?
And not let them score at all. That's the key there. And then offensively, we got to execute better. We're not executing at all.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks.
Here you go, Tom Minnick. I'll say this: if you score 42 points and you look awful, well, how do you look when you look good? What's the end result?
Well, he's not very pleased. You can tell. He's not very pleased at all. And I think, you look at our passing game. Our passing game isn't particularly overpowering right now. And so I'm sure he's looking at that. I'm sure he's looking at some of the like the long pass play and the long run that they had. I mean, those are all things that, championship teams got to stay away from. So maybe, hey, he's a head coach, and he expects more out of his kids, and that's a good thing. That's all good.
42-3 Garden City at the half. DeMorton's halftime report is next on 99.9 The Rock. the Morton's halftime report alongside John Ford, C.D. DeSalvo, Mike Pilosoff, 42-3. The Blockbusters in front. It was a first half dominated by Garden City, and Fort Scott again looked like they never got off the bus. I mean, that tells the story of a team that did not convert a single third down in that first half and picked up just 4 first downs. We step aside, we come back with your first half game recap after this on 99.9 The Rock. So a third down and about 8 right here. Garden City at the Fort Scott 26-yard line. Larson in the shotgun. Trips to the left, single wide out right. He drops back. 4-man rush, and he floats a pass to the near pylon. Jump ball, and Williams has it. Touchdown, Garden City. On a perfectly thrown ball, it's Jalen Williams who comes and plucks it out of the sky. A 26-yard touchdown pass, and the Blockbuster strike first. That's the third TD strike of the season thus far for Larson. Larson, again, the numbers will tell a different story. He was 7 of 18, but he threw 2 touchdown passes, 106 yards through the air, and the Blockbusters have a 42-3 lead at the intermission. Alongside John Ford, C.D. DeSalvo, Mike Pilosoff, welcome back on the Morton's halftime report here from Blockbuster Stadium. Fort Scott getting blown out of the building. Let's get to your first half game recap, and it's brought to you by Garden City Community College. The future starts now. Blockbusters got the football first, and after an opening kickoff return of 36 yards by LeBourne that set them up at the Fort Scott 34. They eventually get down to the 18-yard line, but on third down, Larson's pass was incomplete. and then Joe Carroll missed a 35-yard field goal. Not to fear because Fort Scott did nothing on the next possession for Fort Scott. 3 downs and out. They punt the football away, and then the Blockbusters start in plus territory. There was an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty against Fort Scott, so they're at the 28. It only took them 4 plays, and on that 4th play, you just heard the highlight. Larson hits Williams for 21, and the Blockbusters have the lead, 7-0. Ensuing kickoff. A squib by Leo Marini, who Corey Bryant, I would say, is lending out, but Corey Bryant, the head soccer coach, he and Tom Minnick collaborating on that. So Marini drops down a squib kick that the Blockbusters recover. It was Jonathan Huggins that picks it up, and the Blockbusters have it at the Fort Scott 21. From there, it was Ford for 6, and then Xavier Peters for 9, and then following a penalty against Garden City, they were actually facing a 4th and goal from the 17-yard line. It was 4th and goal. Evan Larson rolling right and extending the play. Larson changing the play at the line. 3 receivers left, 1 right. To the right of him in the shotgun is Ford. Chest high snap, looks left, scans back right, sprints to his right at the numbers, throws at the last second to the back of the end zone. He's got Simmons. Is he in? Yes! Austin Simmons, who dragged that foot right along the back chalk for a 7-yard 4th down touchdown pass from Larson, and the Blockbusters extend the lead. Extra point good, so it's 14-0 Blockbusters. We're still not even halfway through the first quarter. Fort Scott's next possession, they finally pick up a 1st down. Kaiwan Morgan, 25 yards out near midfield. They eventually punt. I'm telling you that Ishmael Roy might win the Luke Garza Award. He might have 700 punts before the end of the season. So he punts again. Blockbusters start from their own 37. It's Jordan Ford to the house, 63 yards, makes it 21-0 with 5:15 left in the first. You guessed it, another Fort Scott punt and another Blockbuster drive. This time they march 6 plays, 55 yards. Larson hits Drake for 23. 3 plays after that, it's Ford for 10. And then 2 plays after that, the Blockbusters go Wildcat. And it's a 1-yard rushing touchdown by Jonathan Huggins. And the Blockbusters have a 28-0 lead early in the second quarter. They would tack on a couple more scores. Fort Scott finally scored later on in the period in the second. They get a field goal. And that's probably what Tom Minnick was telling CD about. Look, we don't want to allow any points. I mean, they gave up that 61-yard pass play that eventually set up the field goal. But other than that, Fort Scott has done nothing offensively. Blockbusters adding to the lead. They were up 28-3 in the second quarter. Jordan Ford adds his second rushing touchdown, a 10-yard scamper. And the Blockbusters have a 42-3 lead at the intermission. Take a timeout. We have your first half numbers on the way next. Blockbusters up 39 at the break on 99.9 The Rock. Back on the Morton's halftime report alongside John Ford, C.D. DeSalvo, Mike Pilosoff, 42-3. Broncbusters rolling right past Fort Scott. As we take a look at your first half numbers, brought to you by Keller Leopold. Broncbusters with 13 first downs, Fort Scott with 4. Garden City 22 carries, 160 yards on the ground. Fort Scott 11 carries for -1. Now, I want to go back to the 160 for Garden City because I talked about this earlier, John, that Fort Scott last week surrendered just 5 yards to Highland. They gave up 5 yards before they even got off the bus.
Yeah, I mean, it was quick. And maybe that tells you kind of how good Highland's running game is.
It's not been very good. But, I mean, in 2 weeks. So, yes, telling you how bad Highland's running game is. Through the air, Garden City 106 yards, Fort Scott 93. Broncbusters were 7 of 18, Fort Scott 6 of 16. Garden City ran 40 plays for 266, Fort Scott 27 for 92. Neither team turned the ball over. There were 6 first-half punts by Ishmael Roy for Fort Scott. Garden City 6 penalties, 35. Fort Scott 6 for 50. Time of possession, Garden City 17:55 and Fort Scott 12:05. And Fort Scott was 0 for 7 on third down. Garden City 4 of 9. Broncbusters 2 of 3 on fourth down. Garden City 3 for 4 in the red zone. Individually for Garden City, Devin Larson 7 of 18, 106 yards and 2 touchdowns. Ran it 3 times for 8, was sacked twice. Xavier Peters 4 carries for 21. Jordan Ford 11 carries for 123. He's averaging over 11 yards per carry. Had that 63-yard dance to the end zone. And then Jonathan Huggins had that 1 carry for 1 yard and a touchdown. Son had 1 catch for 9 yards. Kendall Drake had 3 for 51. Austin Simmons 1 for 7. And then Jalen Williams had 2 catches for 39 and a touchdown. He and Simmons each with a score. On the other side, Fort Scott, Jake Cottle 1 of 3, 12 yards. And Jai Wright 5 of 13 for 81 yards. Cottle 1 carry for -11. Reese Thomas had 1 catch for 13 yards. And then defensively, A.J. McCorkle and Miles Jackson leading the way for Fort Scott. 7 tackles for Jackson, 4 for McCorkle. And Garden City was led. Arvell Ferguson had a couple of tackles, as did Zay Roberson and Christian Furman. It's 42-3 Garden City at the break. Take a timeout. Back with the second half after this on 99.9 The Rock. Getting set to start the second half alongside John Ford, C.D. DeSalvo, Mike Pilosoff from Broncbuster Stadium. 42-3. Garden City leading Fort Scott. John, what do you want to see from the second half?
I think, first of all, I don't want to have any injuries. That's the key thing right there. But secondly, you know, I think this is a great opportunity for Garden City to create some depth within their lineup, because especially their offensive line, because I think that seems to be the, I don't know if it's a glaring weakness, but it is, you know, you're only as strong as your weakest link, and right now that's probably it. And so it'd be kind of good to see us strengthen that particular area. Don't know how much more Larson's going to play. I would imagine he'll play about half the third quarter, and then they'll probably bring in the other quarterbacks. But I'd like to see some consistency on offense. And like Coach Minnick said, I don't want to see him score.
And that might sound ridiculous, but when you're looking for something to motivate your guys in a 42-3 game, that's it. Kywan Morgan returns the kickoff from his own 5 up the right sideline and is across the 45 near midfield. And finally ushered out of bounds over there. So 1st and 10 for Fort Scott. A 40-yard return, and it's 1st and 10. I'm assuming that's not exactly what Tom Minnick was looking for out of his special teams.
No, I don't think that was a good way to start off the second half. And I'll tell you what, he was just a man away from breaking that all the way.
Fort Scott, 31st in the country in passing yards after one game. 1st and 10 from their own 45, and Kaiwan Morgan is drilled behind the line of scrimmage again. It was Eli Hill that hit him first. Arvell Ferguson was there as well. It's a loss of 2 inside the left hash at 2nd down and 13.
So take that for your return.
Double down.
Yeah.
2nd down and 13. Fort Scott moving left to right to begin the third quarter from their own 42-yard line. In the shotgun right. Back to throw. Sidearms a pass right. Caught by Morgan and twisted down inside the numbers back to the 37-yard line. And that's Zay Roberson that brings him down.
Heck of an open field tackle.
Loss of 4 along the numbers. Back to the 38. It's 3rd and 17.
When you get somebody like that out in the open, it only takes one movement, and he can be free. And so defensive back did a good job.
Morgan, meantime, 2 catches for -3. 3rd and 17, Fort Scott from their own 38. In the shotgun right, drifting back, and he throws a dart this time, and it's caught by the tight end Batten across midfield. Right side numbers to the 48. Ball came out afterwards. Antoine Davis is running the other way, but they give him the 49-yard line. That's a gain of 13. It's 4th down and about 4.
Found a seam in the defense and hit it. Nice timing by the quarterback and receiver.
Fort Scott keeps the offense on the field. 4th and 4 from the Garden City 49. 2 receivers left. Single wide out right. Right back to throw again under pressure. Along the sideline. Ropes one down. Has a man there. Wide open. Reese Thomas. Sideline to the end zone. Touchdown Fort Scott. And a busted coverage on the back end. That was Roberson who was beat. That's a 49-yard touchdown to begin this third quarter. And that's, again, the game's out of hand, and you give that up, and it's 42-9.
And I guarantee you Coach Minnick isn't going to be very happy about that. Nor is Coach Dominguez.
That was the most, well, they have had 2 big plays in this game. They had the 61-yard pass play and now the 49-yard touchdown that goes for 6. Roy on for the extra point. Snap is back, and it's blocked. Arvell Ferguson blocks that extra point.
The extra point is blocked.
With 13:08 to go in the third, but the damage done for Fort Scott. Still, Garden City up 42-9 on 99.9 The Rock. Alongside John Ford, Mike Pilasov, CD DeSavo on the sidelines. Brockbusters give up a big play and a touchdown. And now their lead 42-9 with 13:08 to go in the game. They're about to get the football back, and a bouncing ball fielded by Garden City at their own 25. It's Xavier Peters coming left, takes a helmet to the waist at the 31-yard line after a return of about 6 yards, and a tackle by Julian Durham. So 1st and 10 Garden City, now moving right to left here in the second half. Leading 42-9.
You know the bad thing about that? That was 4th down. 4th down.
Yeah, I mean, that's, of all things to happen, and again, you're up big, and Larson is back out at quarterback. It's how much.
Well, they went with an all-out rush, and they had no help over the top. That's
1st and 10 Garden City from their own 31. Larson in a half diamond, turns and hands for Jordan Ford. Right up the middle, bouncing left across the 40. Runs up the left hash mark to the 44-yard line. And the Fort Scott tackled by Darius Allen after a gain of 13 and a first down.
Gain of 13 on the play.
Rockbusters ran last week for almost 300 yards, and as a team today, they're up near 200.
At their own 44-yard line.
First and 10 from their own 44, moving right to left, up 42-9 with 12 and a half to go in the third. Backs on either side of Larson in the shotgun. Drake comes left. Two receivers right, takes the snap, hands for Peters. Sweeping left, sheds a tackle with a stiff arm, gets a block from Drake up the left sideline. And he's out of bounds at the Fort Scott 47-yard line. And he picks up 9. It's second down and 1.
Gain of 9 on the play. It'll bring up second down and 1.
I'll tell you what, Rhodes is a load.
I mean, it's like when Dominic was describing what he was seeing early in practice when he first made the move, he said, Mike, nobody could catch this guy. That's from his speed.
Mm-hmm.
And now you add in the fact that he's that big.
Got a couple tree trunks for legs.
Left inside is Mike.
Second down and caught about a yard and a half of the Fort Scott 48. This is Hodges up the middle, bursting free, 30 to the 25 and down to the 23, running right between the hash marks. And it's the tackle by Mondo Walker all the way to the 23, and he picks up 25 and a first down.
I'll tell you what, it's a great job by the interior portion of our line. I mean, they're blowing the holes wide. That's Hodges' best run. I haven't seen Hodges have a good run like that.
Hodges, who was a state qualifier in the long jump. Some long strides there. First down at 10, Garden City, just outside the red zone at the Fort Scott 23.
Let me get the hammer in.
Xavier Peters is now behind Larson in a half diamond with two receivers right, Damus the tight end left. Give it to Peters. Little counter action coming back left. Hurdles a man 20 and pushed out at the 15-yard line.
Mind you, that's a 255-pounder doing that.
Darius Allen shoves him out with two hands to his back after a gain of about 8. Second down and a long 2, close to 3.
No doubt. Peters is very impressive.
Second down and 4.
The great thing is he's just going to get better.
This is a position that, you figured when he was at Kentucky and Florida State, he was a hybrid guy. He was a defensive end and a linebacker. Now you bring him here and say, hey, just run the ball. Don't think, just run the ball. Second down and 4. Garden City at the Fort Scott 17-yard line. Hodges to the right of Larson in the shotgun. Son is in a slot right. Austin Simmons wide right. Jalen Williams to the near side left. Hand it off. This is Hodges sweeping off left tackle inside the 10, inside the 5, and outside the hash marks to the 1-yard line.
Mike, a great cut by Hodges. I mean,
Darius Allen makes the tackle.
He found a hole in between the left guard and left tackle, and he just exploded through it. He's so quick and so fast. He's like Ford. He's got that extra gear.
Sixth play of this drive. Gain of 16 on that play. It's first and goal now.
He kicks a walk on.
First and goal from the 2. Ball on the left hash. Larson in a half diamond. Damus the H-back. Jordan Ford is the tailback with two receivers right. Snap. Give it to Ford right up the middle, and he's into the end zone. Touchdown, Garden City. It was Quentin Ross that paved the way to the end zone. A 2-yard score, and the Brockbusters have a 48-9 third quarter lead.
I'm not gonna lie, Mike. I think you could have gotten through that hole. That hole was huge. The inside of our line is doing a great job.
And that's a backup left guard. That's Quentin Ross filling in for Nemonte Decor.
That's encouraging.
Dominic talks about depth. You want to see depth on the offensive line?
Gotta get the hammer out there. The hammer wasn't there for special teams.
Did you get his approval on the Hammer nickname?
I don't know, but boy, I'll tell you what.
He's a good kid. Snap back placement good, and the end over end kick is on the way and good. 9:26 to go here in the third quarter. And the Brockbusters have a 49-9 lead on 99.9 The Rock. Line drive kick by Leo Marini, fielded by one of the upmen for Fort Scott, and it returns it to the 36-yard line. And that is where Fort Scott starts now, down 49-3. And that was batting the tight end, and he might have got his bell rung. I mean, he's having problems getting up. Being helped to the sideline.
Yeah, hopefully he's okay. I'll tell you what, let's see if that defense takes that last Fort Scott drive personally.
And slowly coming off the field is Batten. So the Brockbusters next week, they host Highland. And then, of course, the following week, that's the showdown a lot of people are waiting for early in the season. Garden City on the road against Independence.
And that's not an easy place to play.
No, it's not. And Garden City's lost some crazy games there.
Yep. They've also won some crazy ones.
Go back to Jeff Sims' first year. That was 2015. And Independence had lost, I think, 21 straight games. And they beat the Brockbusters that night to end the losing streak. Well, the following year, Jason Brown takes over for Independence. And then Garden City comes here and beats them. But in 2017, the Last Chance U episode with Garden City versus Independence, crazy game. Independence ends up winning towards the end. They sacked Terry Wilson a couple of times. You and I were there for that. And then last year, or the year they went to the national championship in 2018, they were down 21-3, I think, early in the game. And all of a sudden they came storming back, won the game. And then last year, Independence came in here and handed the Brockbusters.
And that's when we had that big confrontation in 18 at the end of the game.
Yes, with Jeff Sims and Jason Brown. 1st and 10, Fort Scott from their own 37. Right back to pass on a play action. Looks right, floats a pass right, and almost a one-handed pick. Does he have it? Yes.
Got it. Pick.
It's Jonathan Huggins who one-hands the interception near midfield. He tipped it in the air, and he's got it. 1st and 10, Brockbusters. That's the first turnover of the day.
Well, I think the defense took it personally.
Reese Thomas was the intended target. That was a hell of a play. He tipped the ball to himself.
I don't know how I think he maintained control with just almost with one hand, it looked like.
So the Brockbusters take over now at their own 47-yard line.
Very athletic play for sure.
8:53 remaining here in the third.
Still got Devin in there?
Yes, you do. 1st and 10, Garden City at their own 47. 2 receivers right. Half diamond for Larson. Bell tie snap. Hands for Ford. Sweeping left. Gets a block from Damus on the edge, and he's out of bounds at the Fort Scott 45. Ushered out over there by Darius Allen. Pickup of about 8. It's 2nd down and 2. Now they just put it back to the 47, so that's where he stepped out. Gain of 5. It's 2nd down and 5. Jordan Ford ran for almost 200 yards last week. And he has been fantastic again this week with 8:26 to go in the third. Brockbusters have it on a 2nd and 5 at Fort Scott 48. Half diamond again for Larson. Simmons left. LeBourne goes right. Fort Scott rushes 4. Play action Larson. Well protected, wants it all. Airs out a bomb down the middle, and it's through the hands of LeBourne, who had beaten his man badly. Right down the middle of the field. Mondo Walker never knew it hit him. And now it's 3rd down and 5.
Wow. That was a 50-yard pass. I mean, that was 50 yards in the air. He should have caught that one.
And that was effortless by Devin Larson.
Yeah, I mean, that was
just a perfectly thrown ball. And it almost, like he puts his arms out, he extends the arms, and the ball goes right through, right down the middle of the field on a go-round.
Well-designed play, too. Shows you how much speed our receivers got, too.
3rd and 5, Garden City at the plus 48. They're 4 of 9 on 3rd down. Trips right, 2 receivers left. It's a draw to Hodges. Wiggles right, cuts back left, has a 1st down inside the 40 as he carries Fort Scott defenders right hash mark to the Greyhound 38-yard line. The play finally blown dead, but that is a 1st down carry for Hodges. Mondo Walker, who just got beaten like a drum the last time out, is the one that makes the tackle. 1st down, Garden City.
What a football name, huh?
They get us to the 39-yard line, which is good for another Brockbuster. 1st down.
Coming up on 7.5 to go
at the Greyhound 40,
in the third quarter. 1st and 10, Garden City at the Fort Scott 39. Larson in the shotgun. Half diamond. Motions Davis as an H-back left. And they give it to Martez Jones, the third running back, and he sweeps to the left. He's inside the 30, down the left sideline, 20, stays in bounds, and he's out near the 10.
He actually got a couple of yards doing that.
Austin Hollins, he was doing like a little dance move down the sideline, and Hollins thought he was out of bounds, and then he kind of wiggled for a couple more down to the 11. That's a gain of 28 and a first down.
Where he stopped and he faced that defensive man. That defensive man thought he was going to step out. Instead, he said, no, I'm not. And then took another couple of yards.
Gain of 18 down to the, gain of 28 down to the 11-yard line. So first down just outside the 10. 6.5 to go.
Got the hammer back in.
Peters to the right of Larson in the shotgun. Ford on his left hip. Two receivers right. They motion Ford out, and they hand it to Peters on a misdirection left. Pinballs up two defenders into the end zone. Xavier Peters, touchdown. Off of left guard.
The hammer.
11 yards. Xavier Peters just ran over two defenders.
They couldn't tackle him.
I mean, it's unbelievable.
Not only was carrying the ball, but he was carrying two Greyhounds with him.
I was talking to Caleb Young, who's the secondary coach for Garden City, and he was part of that 2016 National Championship team. As Carroll's extra point is good. And we went into the Jeremy Falk comparison between he and Xavier Peters. Falk in 2015 had that big rushing game against Butler where they knocked off the '1 team. And he said Jeremy was really quick for a defensive lineman, but he ain't as fast as this guy, Xavier Peters. 6:15 remaining here in the third. Extra point good. 56-9 Garden City on 99.9 The Rock. .6:15 left. Yes, we're still in the third quarter, and there's the only mistake by Leo Marini today as he kicks that ball out of bounds. And the illegal procedure puts the ball near midfield with 6:15 to go alongside John Ford, C.D. DeSalvo, Mike Pilasoff. And if you've not been tuned in and you just got here, you've missed a lot. 5 plays, 53 yards on that last drive in 2 minutes and 38 seconds. And it was capped off with the Xavier Peters touchdown run that put the Broncbusters up 56-9.
Illegal procedure. Kicking team. Kick the ball out of bounds. The ball be placed at the 35-yard line. It is. First down.
Fort Scott and their non-existent offense comes back on the field at their own 35, moving left to right, down 56-9.
Oh, Lordy.
Right remains in the game, and all kinds of movement on the offense and defensive lines. That's Ethan Biddle.
Penalty flag before the whistle, before the snap.
In a game where the Broncbusters have outgained Fort Scott 378 to 151, and that 151 might seem like a high number considering the fact that this is a 56-9 game.
And only 2 plays really where they made the yardage.
61 on 1.
I'm not exactly sure what they're talking about. I mean, it was an obvious false start.
This is like the second time we've seen this happen today.
We saw it a lot last week.
You know, it's crazy. You look at this series. Last 3 matchups. Garden City 42-16.
It's on us.
57-17 and 69-0.
Offsides. Defense. Number 96. 5-yard penalty. Replay, first down.
It took 5 minutes for that.
They move the ball to the 40-yard line, 1st and 5.
1st and 5 now. Fort Scott at their own 40-yard line. Right in the shotgun. 2 receivers left and right. Garden City rushes 4 off the back foot. And a bobbling drop. Right side numbers. As again, Wright was in retreat. And that's Batten, who kind of wobbled off the field earlier in the game. It's now 2nd down and 5.
Family did a great job defending that pass. He knocked it out of his, basically he got his hand in there as he was catching the pass and kind of wedged it out.
2nd down and 5 for the Greyhounds.
2nd and 5, Fort Scott for their own 45-yard line. Batten is in a slot to the near side right. Mystical McGee, the transfer from Mississippi Gulf Coast, comes wide right. They won the national title last year. He was not there last year. He was there the year before that. And then 2 receivers left. And a helmet-high snap to right. Throws it over the middle to Batten. A line drive, waist-high catch off the line drive throw. And Batten is tackled left hash mark near the 42. And that's Zay Roberson, the safety up after a loss. So now it's 3rd down and call it 5. Gain of a couple, I should say. So 3rd down and 5 now. And this is the area today where Fort Scott has not been very good. And that's on 3rd down. They did not convert a 3rd down in the first half. They are 0 for 8 in the game. 2 by 2 with Wright in the gun. Garden City rushes 4. Wright again throws off his back foot, incomplete and almost intercepted. That's Mike Harris, the transfer from Auburn, who was in position to pick that pass off, and now it's 4th and 2.
They're going to go for it.
Why not? I mean, seriously, what do you have to lose? You're down 56-9.
We got to work on something, man.
Say 4th and about 4, not 2.
This has been their money play today.
4th and 4, Fort Scott at their own 43. A 2 by 2 with Wright in the shotgun. Pumps and fires left, and a seam pattern caught for a first down by Reese Thomas at the Garden City 44-yard line. And the tackle by Chris Smith coming up from his safety spot, the 2-star recruit from Decula, Georgia. First down, Fort Scott.
Chris Smith on the tackle. It'll bring a 1st down and 10 for the Greyhounds.
First down, Fort Scott at the Brockbuster 44 after the 13-yard pickup. Back to throw right. Rolls to his right. And then just pushes a pass up the sideline to Morgan. He makes the catch over the shoulder, right sideline, and he steps out of bounds. Maybe at the 35. He had a lot of green in front of him. That's a gain of about 9. It's going to bring up 2nd down and 1.
He goes out of bounds to the 36-yard line. It's a gain of 8. It'll bring up
Wright is 11 of 22, 168 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. The one-handed interception by Jonathan Huggins the last time out for Fort Scott. Garden City might have been in the neutral zone again on 2nd and 1. Right under pressure, and the ball comes out. Malaya is the one that knocked it out, but Fort Scott recovers it. Morgan back at his own 45.
No flag.
That's a loss of 20, and now it's 3rd and 21. You just had a 2nd down and 1.
Kind of wonder why the coach would not just
It's a loss back to their
hand the ball off in that situation.
No kidding. So they're back now at their own 45. 3rd and 21, Fort Scott. From their own 45 with 4 minutes to go here in the 3rd. 56-9 Garden City. Right in the shotgun with 4 wide, 2 to either side. And he dumps it off over the middle to Morgan. Wiggles right towards the numbers and is hit immediately there. Sean Smith and Antoine Davis combined on that tackle at midfield. Pickup of 5. It's 4th and 16, and now Fort Scott punts again. What do you think?
They're gonna
On 4th and 16?
Yep, they're going for it.
All right.
Brought down by Sean Smith.
I'm telling you, it's been their money play today.
4th down and 16 from midfield for Fort Scott. 2 receivers left, 1 right. Wright steps up in the pocket. Now he takes off and runs and is belted coming back right by Antoine Davis. A little forearm shiver. Right numbers at the Garden City 46. He's only about 12 yards shy of the first down.
Yeah, and that was a good, clean hit, too.
It wasn't high.
Yeah, I mean, and you hit him with his shoulder. I mean, it was just a good, clean hit.
1st and 10 for the
But he still laid the leather to him.
Yes, he did. So a turnover on downs with 3:14 to go here in the 3rd quarter.
Larson's still in there.
Larson is still in there.
I figured they would.
Well, you know more than I do, so.
I'm telling you, they need to get their passing game on track.
First and 10 Garden from their own 46.
180.
Seabers to either side, half diamond. Chest tie snap, play action Larson. They rush 4, he slides right, gets a late block, fires down the middle, he's got a man, and it's Austin Simmons twisting and turning at the 7 along the left hash mark and couldn't bring it down. Greer was in coverage, and it's 2nd and 10. Allen was really bracketing over the top, but he had beaten Greer, and now it's 2nd and 10 Garden City from their own 46.
That's 2 touchdowns.
Here, look left. 84 kids.
And we're on 2nd down and 10 from the 46-yard line.
2nd down and 10. So that's a couple of throws in this game that should have been caught.
Down.
For big
Larson in
yardage.
the shotgun.
Shot.
2nd and 10 from his own 46. Gives it to Peters. Starts left, comes back to his right, and then slants left inside the 45 of Fort Scott down to the 43. Dragged down ankle high by Miles Jackson, the D2 transfer.
I don't care what anybody says, man. The hammer is good.
11-yard pickup and a first down for Garden City down to the Fort Scott 43.
That's a heck of a coaching move by Coach Minnick, moving him to running back.
Yeah, look, you don't win 120 games in your career not knowing a couple of tricks up your sleeve, you know?
Down. Right side, Mike.
1st and 10, Garden City from the Fort Scott 43. Martez Jones on the carry coming left. Sheds a tackler. Splits 2 defenders. Left side numbers to the 35 of Fort Scott. Mondo Walker, the backup linebackers, played a lot today. 2-star recruit. Transferred from Army. He's the one that makes that tackle. Gain of 8. And it's 2nd down and 2. Rockbusters have basically ran at will against a defense that coming into today, they have finished in the bottom 20 in run defense 7 consecutive years.
Down. Right side, Mike.
2nd and 2, Garden City from the Fort Scott 35. This is Jordan Ford right up the middle. First down yardage. Breaks a tackle to the 15.
Jordan Ford, the ball carrier.
And he points that he has a first down. We know that. It's A.J. McCorkle on the tackle. It's a gain of 20 and a first down.
I'll tell you, some of those Fort Scott defensive linemen, fatigue is starting to take over.
And maybe a timeout.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the case with this young man that's injured out there.
Which is good for another Rockbuster.
Jordan Ford has 163 yards rushing. Last week he had 182. The only one that had more rushing yards in week 1 is there is a timeout on the field. Tavion Thomas from Independence. And I was talking with Aaron Cheatwood, one of the line coaches for Garden City, and he said, man, that dude is the real deal, talking about Independence's running back. The Bronxbusters will see him here in a couple of weeks. But just to get you caught up, what's gone on in this game, Bronxbusters jumped out all over Fort Scott. They scored 42 points in the first half. Larson has thrown a couple of touchdowns. Jordan Ford has 3 rushing touchdowns. Xavier Peters has a rushing touchdown. Jalen Williams had a great opening catch touchdown on the Bronxbusters' first scoring drive on a little fade pattern. They have a special teams touchdown. So every part of the Bronxbusters, except from a scoring aspect, defense hasn't scored, but they do have a turnover in this game.
Yeah. A spectacular turnover at that.
So the Bronxbusters have a first down at the Fort Scott 14-yard line.
But Huggins has got a touchdown and an interception,
Yep.
didn't he?
Huggins on the Wildcat earlier in that first half. 1st and 10, Garden City, the Fort Scott 14.
Right side is Mike.
Half diamond, 2 receivers to the right. Chest tie snap, handed for Hodges. Off left tackle. Squirts towards the numbers 10, cuts back slightly to the right at the 5.
Hodges, the ball carrier.
And Hodges near a first down. Julian Durham on the tackle, gain of 9 at 2nd down and 1.
Gain of 9 on the play. It'll bring it down 2nd down and 1 at the 5-yard line.
Second down and 1 from the 5-yard line for Garden City. 5th play of this drive. Bronxbusters up 56-9, less than a minute to go in the third. Half diamond for Larson. Turns and hands for Peters. Right up the middle. Barrels towards the end zone. Did he get in?
Yep.
Yes, he did. Touchdown, Xavier Peters. Second straight possession that the Kentucky transfers into the end zone, and with 43 seconds to go in the third, it's 62-9, Blockbusters in front. That one from 5 yards out. Let me ask you a question. If you're on the bus ride with Carson Hunter going home, if you're Fort Scott, like, what do you tell your guys? And this is not just his team. Anybody that just gets your brains beaten in for 60 minutes.
I don't think you say a thing to him until you think about it, and have about 4 days to think about it, because anything you say is probably going to be counterproductive.
43 seconds to go here in the third. Yes, we are still in the third quarter. It's 63-9. That extra point good by Carroll on 99-9 The Rock.
Morgan to return for the Greyhounds.
Kyle Morgan on the return for Fort Scott. Jadrain Scurry on the tackle for Garden City after about a 12-yard return. Fort Scott starts their next possession at their own 24. 5 plays, 43 yards on the last drive. 2 minutes and 31 seconds. It's 63-9, Garden City in front. Fort Scott starts from their own 24-yard line. The offense has been non-existent all day. 1st and 10, handoff Morgan, coming back to the right, and nothing there. And they actually handed that off not to Morgan, but to Jaquez Monica for no gain, coming off the right side at 2nd down and 10.
You're going to have a quarterback change for us next possession.
I would assume so. Been kind of waiting for that. Not that we don't want to see Devin Larson play, but at this point you're up 63-9, get everybody out. They were already playing with backup offensive linemen. Garden City this week moved up from number 5 in the polls to number 3 after that convincing win over Arkansas Baptist. They're going to put up 60 points plus in back-to-back games, and I don't care who you're playing. You know, Dodge City last week, for instance, they played Resolution Prep. Now, I say I don't care who you're playing. Garden City played an NJCAA school, and that's the end of the third quarter. Dodge City, if you look at all the stats from week 1, they're dominating everything because they played, you know, a slack team. Like, nobody even knows where Resolution Prep is. Garden City's played 2 legit NJCAA teams, and right now through 7 quarters of their season, they have scored over 120 points. We go to the 4th. It's 63-9, Garden City over Fort Scott on 99-9 The Run. Alongside John Ford, C.D. DeSalvo, Mike Pilosoff. Start of the fourth quarter. 63-9 Garden City. It's 2nd and 10 Fort Scott. Now moving right to left, right hash. At their own 24, so Jaya Wright remains in a quarterback, the transfer from Florida Tech. And the reason why he transferred from there, if you remember when COVID, the COVID protocols and everything went into place, the pandemic began, Florida Tech was one of the first programs, notably, to shut down football. So he had transferred there. Before that, he started his career at Northern Illinois. So he transferred from Northern Illinois to Florida Tech, and then the program collapses. They fold the program, and then he ends up at Fort Scott. 2nd and 10, Fort Scott from their own 24. Little screen pass right. Pass is caught by Monica. Across the 25 near the 30-yard line.
You're going to see more and more teams use a quick passing game against us because of our rush. We're going to try to neutralize our rush.
It's a gain of 6. 3rd and about 4.5 now for Fort Scott from their own 30-yard line. Monica goes wide right, Batten in a slot right with 2 receivers coming to the near side left. Brockbusters with 4 down linemen. They have 5 in the secondary. Wright with a quick drop, scans the field, looks right under some pressure as he dumps it off to a safety valve. And the pass is caught, scooting up the right sideline. Leyland Wilholt, who's like a 3rd-string running back, is the one that makes that catch, runs down the sideline. He's out across the 40. Christian Furman, the linebacker, tracks him down at the 42. It's a gain of 12 and a first down. Furman had 8 tackles in that win over Arkansas Baptist last week. Did not play in any games last year. He's a redshirt freshman. 1st and 10, Fort Scott from their own 42. Wright again under pressure. Dumps it back off again on the right side. It's Wilholt. And he angles right towards midfield and run out on the far side by Cameron Johnson, the linebacker at the 49. That's a gain of 7, 2nd down and 3.
Brought down out of bounds at the 48-yard line. It's a gain of 6, and the bring up 2nd down and 4.
2nd and 4 coming up. Fort Scott from their own 48. I want to bring in CD here in a second because from his vantage point, we've watched both the offense and defensive lines as Wright drops back to throw again under pressure and somehow avoided 1 sack, but not another. And he is dumped. Blockbusters, their 2nd sack of the day, and that's Sumalo, the freshman from Hawaii. And the sack back all the way inside Fort Scott territory, back to the 36. It's a loss of 12. It's 3rd down and 16.
This is 2-down territory for them.
John, it's been 2-down territory since early in the first quarter. 3rd and 16, Fort Scott. City, what have you seen from both lines?
Complete domination.
You're field level, and the reason I'm asking, not to sound like facetious or sarcastic, but from up here, it's domination, but you're ground level.
Size, strength.
3rd and 16, Fort Scott at their own 36. Garden City only rushes 3. Right flush to his left by Raymond Cutts. Floats a pass up the left sideline, incomplete at the Garden City 35. Monica was the intended target. Garden City drops Jadrain Scurry into coverage, and it's 4th down and 16. And probably going to get a chance to see either Mike Irwin or Jazz Dominguez the next time Garden City has the ball.
And Mike, honestly, especially on the defensive side for Garden City, just the talent discrepancy between the 2 lines of scrimmage. The offensive line for Garden City has just been overpowering the defensive line, but that defensive line for Garden City has just been more talent.
So Roy punts this ball away. It's on his back, and he fields it at his own 8-yard line. Runs all the way back to his right. Still on his feet, zigzags right sideline to the 20-yard line. Cuts back left with a flag down, 40, right sideline 50, as a convoy 45-40, inside the 30, and twisted down at the 20-yard line. It's a 75-yard dance by Sam, but this one's likely coming back. Special teams tackle by Malik Baker, but this one you can bring it all the way back. That flag was thrown about the 30-yard line. And yet, if you want to point out things Garden City has done wrong in this game, the passing game has not been great.
I think when they go with an overall all-out rush, they had a breakdown in the defensive secondary.
And look, that was one area last year where they struggled.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Return team, number 81. Half the distance to the goal. It is first down.
I mean, you think about the game against Snow in the first game of the year, where Garden City's running away with it, and then Snow scores, 28 points in the second half. And it completely
The secondary breakdowns today have been, when the quarterback's running for his life and kind of trying to ad lib and make something happen when there's nothing there.
And there has definitely been nothing there all day.
The one thing that I think teams are going to start picking up is with that kind of rush that we have, and obviously we're going to temper our rush as we go through the season, but more and more teams are going to sit there and offset that with a quick passing game, try to keep us back on our heels a little bit more.
So Mike Irwin replaces Devin Larson. The transfer from Oregon was a walk-on at Oregon. He's in a half diamond with Dawson Otto as the H-back, and it's Davian Hodges with the carry up the middle, and he slides his way out near the 19-yard line after a gain of about 9. It's 2nd down and 1.
Hodges ought to get a steady diet here now.
I don't think they're going to throw the ball and just get the next 11 and a half minutes over and get out of here.
I don't think we're going to see Ford again. I don't think we're going to see Peters again.
And right now on the offensive line, you've got Kashawn Hanna as the backup center. 2nd down and 1, Garden City at their own 19. Half diamond again for Irwin, and he gives it to Martez Jones, sweeping right, kind of fumbled the ball for a moment, regathers it, and he's out near the 20, and he should have a first down.
He's a little bit short, Mike.
Tyshawn Freeman is the one that shoved him out, and he is short of the first down by maybe 2 yards.
He dang near threw that ball.
Yeah.
It's great to see that, we got that kind of depth at tailback, though. I mean,
the biggest fear for Tom Minnick and really anybody on this staff is Garden City now has a 3rd and about 2.5 from their own 20-yard line as Irwin takes the snap, hands it right back for Jones, tripped up in the backfield this time. Nice play by Mondo Walker. Forward progress gets him right near the 20, so officially no gain. So now it's about 4th and 2.5 again. But biggest fear is you play these 2 games against an Arkansas Baptist team that you could have rolled out the 2nd and 3rd stringers and won by 50. And then against a Fort Scott team that is not deep, got a first-year coach. They're not very talented on both sides of the ball. And then you go against Highland next week. You don't want to jump out in front of anybody there as Garden City gets set to punt. But Highland's not on the same level as a Hutch or an Independence or a Garden City. So now you have 3 games against inferior opponents. And again, I'm not trying to disrespect Highland. It's just fact. There's a kick into the wind, whatever wind there is. Kind of a shank that time by Joe Carroll, and it's a short kick, and it's fielded by Garden City in plus territory with 9:41 to go. But the fear is you play those 3 games, and then you go against Independence, and you guys are overhyped. They're almost overconfident.
Well, I think that's where the kind of a catch-22 is, because I think the kids in the back of their mind know what's coming, but they also have to perform right now, and so you don't want them to get in a trap game or a trap situation.
9:41 to go here in the 4th quarter. Fort Scott going with that tempo offense and a carry off left guard on the Brockbuster 38 gains nothing.
And you still want them to dominate like they should, right? So, I mean, there's so many variables here that offset each other that.
Michael Fuller was the one that had that last carry for Fort Scott for no gain. 2nd and 10, Fort Scott from the Garden City 38-yard line, down 63-9. 9 minutes still to go in the 4th. Jake Cottle is back in. The lefty fires a fastball left incomplete low to his intended target, and that was Jonathan Cradle. So now it's 3rd down and 10. And again, incredibly today, Fort Scott just 1 of 12 on 3rd down. They have 3 third-down conversions in their first 2 games.
We went with a whole defensive lineup switch.
3rd and 10, Fort Scott from the Garden City 38. A screen right to Fuller. eludes one tackler, then is shoved out by Christian Furman on the far side of the field. Was that a late hit? There's no
I don't
flag.
think so.
33-yard line, right sideline gain of 5, and it's 4th and 5.
It was close. And also, when you were talking about Hutch and Independence, you can't discount Butler either.
No.
Butler is.
It's a good point, and that's what I'm getting at. You play 3 games against opponents where you should beat.
Yep.
Whereas Hutch has played at Coffeyville, who is receiving votes. They beat them. You've got Butler, who had they came from 21 down against Independence. They ended up losing the game, but they've had those tests already.
Yeah.
Garden City is not. 4th and 5, Fort Scott at the Garden City 33. Connell throws one to the right, and it's almost intercepted by Antoine Davis at the Fort Scott 30-yard line. Cooper, the intended target. A.J. Cooper, the freshman from, he's an in-state kid. He saw Kansas.
I'll tell you the thing about Butler. Butler could actually start the season off 0-2. If Hutch goes in there tonight and beats Butler at their own home, that is going to be a huge win for Hutch.
And look, Hutch is really talented.
Yeah.
Not that I need to tell you that. But.
Yeah, we know Hutch, Butler, Independence, the 3 most talented teams in our league.
So now with 8:13 to go in the 4th, Garden City takes over on downs at their own 33-yard line, leading 63-9. They outscored Fort Scott. It was a 69-0 win just a few years ago. Mike Irwin, the backup quarterback, the transfer from Oregon, is in. Hands for Davion Hodges, who wiggles off of right tackle to the 35-yard line. Tackled by Sherman Allen in on that tackle. A guy that runs a 4.7 40, the transfer from Northland Junior College. Picks up 2. It's 2nd down and 8 as we come up on 7.5 to go in the 4th quarter. And a defensive line that has been manhandled today. Blockbusters have outgained Fort Scott 431 to 180. They have 330 rushing yards. I think that average will kind of balance out now after the 5 yards they gave up last week against Highland. 2nd down and 8. This is Martez Jones on a carry. On a delay, spins off a tackler and then runs to his left to the numbers 40. Sheds a tackler 50. Has blockers out in front. Look at Irwin downfield throwing a block. Jones cuts back right. 15, 10, and fumbles the ball at the 10-yard line. Garden City comes up with it inside the 10 at the 9-yard line. So he fumbles it, and it's picked up by Frank Murphy, whose dad was an All-American here. All-American running back, arguably one of the best running backs we've had come through Garden City.
Absolutely. Yes.
And all the way down to the 8-yard line, and it's 1st and goal, Garden City. Let's see if they advance the ball on the fumble, if they put it back. Right now it's a 57-yard dance by Martez Jones, who probably should have lost maybe 5 yards.
Gain of 59 on the play, which is good for another wrong buster.
Put the ball at the 9-yard line. Officially a gain of 56. 1st and goal from the 9. Irwin remains in at quarterback. 6:40 to go in the 4th. 63-9 Garden City. Half diamond for Irwin. Receivers to either side, including Frank Murphy to the right. This is the 4th different running back today for Garden City. It's Kaleon Page, and he's down off right tackle to the 6 for a pickup of 3, and it's 2nd down and goal. And I think even if you're Tom Minnick right now, the final 6 minutes of this game just can't roll off fast enough.
And I noticed that we haven't had any bad injuries. I mean, that I have seen. I haven't seen.
Bite your tongue, John Ford.
I know. I'm knocking on wood.
Justice Johnson, one of 2 receivers to the left. Frank Murphy's in a slot left. Half diamond for Irwin on 2nd down and goal. Hand off to Davion Hodges. Off right tackle. Spins off a tackler at the goal line for a touchdown. Easton Dent couldn't hang on and bring him down. And Hodges into the end zone from 6 yards out. Garden City has a chance to hang 70 on Fort Scott with 5:42 remaining. So Hodges off the bench, 10 carries for 74 yards. He's the 3rd string running back. Ford has 164, Hodges 74, Peters with 54, and a doink off the upright for Joe Carroll, and that's the only way Garden City doesn't hit 70 points. 69-9 Garden City with 5:42 remaining on 99.9 The Rock. .542 to go here in the fourth quarter. Another short kickoff fielded by Fort Scott. And this is Monica, who starts in the middle of the field, darts to his right at the 25, and forward progress gets him to the 27-yard line. And Leo Marini has done his job for the most part, the kickoff specialist for Garden City, and it's 1st and 10 now for Fort Scott, down 69-9.
And remember, that's a work in progress.
That's where the Greyhounds will take over 1st down and 10.
I have definitely seen improvement from week 1 to week 2. Let's hope we can keep seeing that improvement.
1st and 10, Fort Scott. On their own 26-yard line, the Greyhounds, who last year started the year 2-1. This is Cottle with a zone option read play, and he's buried behind the line of scrimmage.
Jack Cottle, the ball carrier.
Eli Hill brings him down back at the 24-yard line, and that's a loss of 2, and it's 2nd down and 12. You think about Fort Scott last year. So they started 2-1. Actually started 2-0. First time they started by winning their first 2 games since 2009. They won consecutive games for the first time since 2017. And all that was wiped away once the NJCAA was alerted by a non-conference team that Fort Scott had an ineligible player. So they ended up forfeiting 3 games. One of those games was the Independence game. They beat Independence early in the year, and then Independence gets that win back. They don't vacate the wins in junior college as Connell throws a pass right incomplete. And now it's 3rd and 12 for Fort Scott, down 69-9 here in the fourth quarter with 4:38 to go. You don't vacate wins. So as unfair as it seems, that's the rule. So Independence gets the win back, and they end up winning the conference title because of that.
Yeah.
So even if Garden City beats Butler in the last game of the regular season, there's still a chance because you're going to end up tying for the conference title because Independence beat them.
On the flip side of that, though, we should have beaten Independence here.
Yes, and Nate Cox, even though they fell down late, Nate Cox nearly pulled one out with a Hail Mary at the end of the game that Dominique Watt actually got hurt on and really didn't play much after that. 3rd down, Fort Scott from their own 24, and very close to a face mask that time as Eli Hill wraps up the ball carrier.
I think Fort Scott's waving the white flag.
That was Michael Fuller for a loss of a yard. Back to the 23. So now 4th down and 13, and Fort Scott set to punt with just over 4 minutes to go.
And 14.
I think Fort Scott's just as eager to get this game over with as we are.
Yeah, there's no question about that. The way this game started,
Ishmael Roy to kick it off.
Roy punts this ball away. Fair catch signaled for and made by LeBourne. At his own 40-yard line for Garden City. That's where the Blockbusters start looking to just milk the rest of this clock. It's a 37-yard punt, nothing on the return with 3:52 left in the fourth quarter. Cal Pick, who was the head coach for Fort Scott for the previous 3 seasons, and he re-established Fort Scott as a team, I wouldn't say to be reckoned with. They weren't very good the first year. He changed their offensive philosophy. Curtis Horton, who was there, was a run, and then when you're done running, we're going to run again.
Yeah.
Well, Horton gets fired, and then in comes Cale Pick, who it's the air raid. I mean, they were throwing it all. They were one of the worst rushing teams in the country.
But they competed.
They did, and they had good quarterbacks. Nathan Rourke, who was an all-conference selection over at the University of Ohio. They produced some really good ones. And Kel Pick himself, a former quarterback, played at Dodge City High School, was
Good quarterback.
at KU,
Yep.
and then a quarterbacks coach for 1 year for Brian Hill at the high school here. 1st and 10, Garden City at their own 40 is Mike Irwin, the transfer from Oregon, remains in at quarterback, hands it for Martez Jones, going to his left, comes back right, stays in bounds as he was tracked down over there by Austin Hollins for loss of a yard at second down and 11. 3:38 to go here in the fourth quarter. If you're Tom Minnick, you put up 69 points in week 2. Last week you won 63-6. Your offensive numbers are going to, the computers, they're going to have smoke coming out of them. And yet, he's still not going to be pleased because there were areas of the game today, second down and 11. And off for Davion Hodges coming to the near side, right down the sideline, 40, and he shoved out of bounds at the Fort Scott 35, shoved out by Julian Durham.
Well, let's face it, those breakdowns in the game that we've had are breakdowns that we can't afford to have in the big games.
That's the problem.
Yes.
Because if they're happening here, how do you correct them?
Yes.
26-yard run that time by Hodges. As Garden City now has 515 total yards, 414 rushing yards.
It will be interesting to see what Coach Minnick's comments are after the game. It'll be interesting.
1st and 10, Garden City at the Fort Scott 35, moving left to right up 69-6 with less than 3 minutes to go here in the fourth quarter. 2 receivers left and a tight end right. Half diamond for Irwin. Kaleon Page is the back behind him. Give it to Page. Runs off the right side, has room again to the 25-yard line. And pushed out by A.J. McCorkle, the safety. Gain of close to 10 more.
These are some good reps for our kids now.
Well, now you're getting into the 4th-string running back.
Oh, yeah, and I mean, we got replacements on the offensive line. I mean, this is good stuff for us.
If Frank Murphy is listening, I mean, if he was on the sideline today, and Frank Murphy hasn't played in 25 years, you put him in there, 5th string.
Let me tell you, Frank was unbelievable.
That was built like a tank. 2nd down and 1 now, Garden City. At the Fort Scott 26, final minute 45 of the fourth quarter. Irwin sets up a bubble screen to the left, and it's caught by Donovan Bailey. And Bailey gets yardage up the left sideline, and then a block on the edge for Garden City thrown by Fred Young, and then those two guys kept blocking out of bounds. Bailey down to the 15-yard line. It's a gain of 11 and a first down.
Kid got hurt over there. Good.
I think they're attending to him with 1:26 to go in this one.
Tell you what, you go victory formation now.
Let's get this game over with.
Because you know Fort Scott isn't going to call timeout.
Yeah, it's so funny listening to that halftime interview that CD did with Tom Minnick. They're terrible. 42 points on the board in the first half. Typical coach, though. 1st and 10, Garden City now at the Fort Scott 15. Right back for Hodges. Sweeping right with running room inside the 10 to the 5. Did he get in? Or did he step out? No, he's in. Touchdown, Garden City, and they've hung 75 on Fort Scott with a minute to go here in the fourth.
Well, all I can say for Coach Hunter is welcome to the Jayhawk Conference.
I had a really good conversation with him, and I told you guys this off the air. When he was first hired, Kel Pitt was resigned, whether they forced him out, whatever story you want to believe, but he leaves after 3 years. And I asked Coach Hunter, I said, well, what did you sell yourself on to Fort Scott? He goes, there was no selling. I asked them what they were looking for, and they said it's all about academics first, and then football is second. They want to get these kids moving on. The problem with junior college, it's not an easy thing to do, and he's finding that out really in year 1 with his team down 76-9 with a minute 2 to go in the fourth quarter on 99.9 The Rock. Monica, the return for Fort Scott, about 5 yards from his own 23 to his own 28 with 55 seconds to go here in the fourth quarter alongside John Ford, C.D. DeSalvo, Mike Pilosoff, 76-9. Garden City in front.
It's a hideous score.
It's unbelievable.
Greyhounds will take over on their own 27-yard line, 1st and 10.
And Fort Scott is still in the shotgun. Like, run the ball, get out. And they will. This is Fuller, who is swamped under back at the 25-yard line. And the Bronxbuster defense with Xavier Peters out there playing on that side of the ball now. And Peters is the one that made the tackle.
Loss of one of the play, it'll bring up 2nd and 11.
What a luxury it is to have that guy on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
2nd and 11, loss of a yard back to the 26. Loss of 2, so 2nd and 12. Final 20 seconds. Let's see if Fort Scott even snaps the ball. They don't have to. I mean, the play clock and the game clock are
synced,
evened up. Shotgun snap to Connell, fakes the handoff and just keeps it himself and is hit immediately. Hit by Tyrese Gibson Battles, the 6'4" redshirt freshman from Maple Heights, Ohio, and that will do it. The Bronxbusters take Fort Scott to the woodshed and just beat the living daylights out of them. 76-9. Garden City wins it. Get C.D. DeSalvo with Tom Minnick here in just a second. But John, this was, and I've said it probably 300 times, so it's going to be repetitive, but when you're a team as void of talent as Fort Scott is, against it, and it's going to be that way pretty much every game that they play. And then you come up against a Garden City team, and look, they were ranked 5th in the preseason polls. They were picked to win the conference. They're number 3 in the country right now. And you get waxed by that. I mean, what do you tell your guys?
Well, like I said, Mike, I mean, you have to have a couple days to let this wrap your head around it because, you know, I don't know what you say. I mean, those Fort Scott kids, I mean, they give it everything they got in practice, and, you know, they think they have a shot when they come in on the field. But after a good old country kicking like this, I mean, I don't know what you say to them.
Final score, Bronxbusters win this one in an absolute blowout. And it wasn't even close.
I think you almost have to question your philosophy. You know?
Yeah. 76-9 the final. Bronxbusters win it. Post-game show fueled by Greg Calzanetti coming up on 99.9 The Rock.